Good evening. Today is Tuesday, November 17th, 2020, and this is the start of the Hanson Board of Selectmen meeting. Please stand with me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Mrs. Hammett, would you mind reading the announcements for us, please?
Oh, not a problem, Mr. Mitchell. Let's see. It's very short this evening. Announcements. Volunteers are needed on the following committees: Facebook Upkeep Committee, Conservation Commission Associate Members, Cultural Council, Disabilities, Economic Development, Highway Building Committee, Historical Commission, Memorial Day Patriotic Observance, Memorial Field Trustees, and North River Commission. Applications for appointment and info on the committees are available on the town website at www.hanson-ma.gov. And upcoming meetings: Board of Selectmen, December 8th, 2020, and Board of Selectmen, December 15th, 2020.
Thank you. Okay, so first we're going to open a special permit application hearing for 15 Commercial Way, and we're going to continue the hearing until 7 p.m. this evening in a joint session with the Zoning Board of Appeals.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
5-0. Okay, thank you. First, under new business, we have a Highway Department update. Interim Highway Director Kurt McLean. Kurt, come on up to the podium, please. And Kurt's going to give us a brief update on where the Hanson Highway Department is. It's all yours, Kurt.
Well, I'd just like to bring you up to speed on the Liberty Street project. The completion for this construction season is looking like mid-December. Right now, we should be next week, being a short week. They're in hopes to have all the curbing wrapped up, the sidewalk within the next 3 weeks, and they're just going to leave it in binder for this season, and they'll be back in the spring to do the milling and overlaying of the intersection and topping of the sidewalk. The mast arms, that they're hoping to come in mid-January to install them. We ran into a little issue last week with the foundations with hitting ledge, so we're going to be dealing with that. And hopefully when the mast arms come in, weather permitting, we can get those installed in January. And the good news for everyone is there is no rotary. I hear that all the time. They're putting a rotary in. No, they aren't. The footprint is pretty much the way you see the barrels right now. Chapter 90 County Road project is done. I got to give kudos to the guys in the department. They did a phenomenal job with what they had to work with, and I think the project came out great. Moving on, snow and ice. I know it's a dirty word, but we've done a little redesigning of the sand and salt routes. They're pretty much equally divided now to 10 to 11 miles per truck. We have 6 trucks. Plows, right now we have 28. Last year we had 41. There are 7 pending that we're waiting for paperwork back on. And I feel that with the 35 trucks, we'll be able to handle what we have. The guys have been doing a great job with some of the drainage work in town, doing all the catch basins themselves. Since I've been back, they've completed 10. They just did another one today. They're getting really good at what they're doing, so it's saving the town a lot of money as far as going out to contract to have this done. And the final thing is we just, in October, we had the Wampatuck Pond Dam inspected. The dam hadn't been inspected since 2012. It's supposed to be done every 5 years. So I contacted Amory Engineering. They do our other dam, which is the Factory Pond Dam, which is jointly owned with Hanover. I contacted them. They came in, did the inspection October 20th. The last inspection was May 25th, 2012. The next one should be scheduled for October 2025. the estimated repairs to the dam, they gave us, it's an estimate of $40,000. The good news is the highway department went in and did most of that 2 weeks ago.
Wow.
So that number is substantially less. It's a maintenance issue now. Every fall, the town should go in, the highway department, maintain the banking on the pond side and on the mill side. Just, it's minor handwork, but it saves a lot of money. And with that, the engineering fees, it was great, $3,500 to get it done. They had all the information at the DCR that forwarded it to us, so moving forward, it should be pretty simple to keep maintenance. We just have to keep an eye on the sluiceway that goes under the 58 that comes out by the mill, just for any deterioration of the concrete. Other than that, the dam is considered in fair condition, which is good. So with that, I'll defer to Kenny, and I would like to say I appreciate the board for giving me the opportunity to do this. I had a great time last year. It's been a great time this year, and hopefully it's the last time you'll have to see this smile.
Yes. I mean, Kenny, I really appreciate everything. Kurt has saved our bacon a couple of times here, and the guys love him, and he gets a lot of work done, and we really appreciate it. But yes, that is true. We hope not to see you again, unless it's just to say hello and check in on everybody, and you know. But that's amazing that you saved us so much money. That's great.
But it's been a pleasure. Thank you very much.
Kurt, one question. Do you have any concerns about the highway department?
Not really. You know, it's a very small department. For the amount of work, we get calls from residents, multiple calls per week, and it's just impossible to handle all of the calls. We just, today, myself and the supervisor, Stephen Graham, went out and we're dealing with a resident that she's been trying to get us there since September. And we went out, we had a great conversation with her. It's a small staff. I know money's tight. We did get the new chipper that we put in for last year. Thank you very much. But just the jobs that we've got with the crew we've got, we're picking away at them one at a time, trying to prioritize, which is, you know, in most dire need of repair in dealing with it. And the basins has been a big thing, and the guys have got very good at what they're doing. And I just showed them a few little shortcuts that we've got some things from Situate Precast to make the job quicker, easier, and actually a little cheaper. So other than that, it's a good bunch of guys over there, I have to say. It's been a pleasure working.
Good. Well, thank you. I agree with Laura. So thank you, Kurt.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you very much.
And by the way, you're not going anywhere. You just jet. As far as the job.
Oh,
Tonight we're going to let you go. This is not a farewell speech.
no. Retirement's looking better every day. Thank you.
Thank you, Kurt. Thanks, Kurt. Okay, next up, this is a perfect segue. Vote Private Way Plow List 2020. So this is something that the board does every year. We have to accept the dirt roads to allow the highway department to be able to plow those for the winter. So I'm looking for a motion to accept.
So moved. But, Mr. Mitchell, just
Yes.
to clarify, we're not required to do this.
No.
We do this, the town of Hanson has historically done this, but we're not required to do it.
That's
And I
correct.
think there's a lot of confusion about that.
Yeah, so myself, I live on a dirt road, and it's absolutely not a requirement by the town. But what the town does is they plow the roads and they also grade the roads.
Twice a year, right?
Twice a year, but that's not a requirement.
Yep. Okay.
So, yep, good point.
I heard a motion and a second.
Yep.
All those in favor? 5-0. Okay, review selectmen propose 2022 capital needs and requests. So I think you guys have an Excel sheet. John, you want to go over this?
Sure.
Please?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So, On the sheet here, the first grouping is the way that things that are on the capital plan as of right now, capital improvement program, as of right now. These things that were, it's A through I, all these different projects, and where they were placed on the plan up until last year. The ones that are shaded in green are ones that we've already funded. Demolition of the McQuon School, the service switch upgrade, and the town hall general maintenance and repairs. So the first grouping is the way it is as of now. Then the second grouping is a potential reconfiguration of that for discussion by the board tonight. And just what I did is I took the Plymouth County Hospital and the sidewalks and multi-use trails, and I pushed that back until fiscal year 23. I took the highway building repair replacement and took that from fiscal year 21 and pushed that back to fiscal year 24. The demolition of the McQuon School, I pushed it to fiscal year 22. Just even though it's already been funded, if it were to happen, I don't think it would happen in the next 6 months. And then that was all the changes. The rest were as they were there. So that's potential reconfiguration for discussion. And also down below, I had other items that I could think of that may, at some point in the out years, we might want to put on the capital project plan under the selectmen. The first one was the Council on Aging remodel. The second one was the library, and the Board of Trustees came in and talked to the board a few months ago about a potential new library. I asked Karen Stouffer today about whether there was a dollar amount attached to that, and there wasn't. But again, there'll be another item that could be discussed. Number 3 that I thought of was town-wide road work. Other town roads need a lot of work, and to include it in the capital improvement program is something that other towns have chosen to do, and I just want to look at whether that might be something that you might want to put in there. The fourth thing was an increase to the highway building repair replacement. Right now it's in there at $5 million. We want to push it back to 2024, making a hypothetical reconfiguration. It's likely to be more than $5 million. What that amount is, I don't know, but again, a point of discussion if we'd like to do it would be what number should that be, if it is going to be $5 million. And then finally, just town hall renovations. Town hall needs, it has some deferred maintenance, and it's very likely that it's going to need several years of sustained funding in the capital plan in order to get on things that are not up to snuff at the moment. So again, what the amount is, I don't know, but I just want to throw that out. The tentative date for the capital improvement program completion to get into the capital improvement committee is this Friday, and this is going to be the last time we have to talk about it. Just if you had any other ones that you wanted me to add, like any of the ones that I came up with, and I just want to talk about them. So thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, one of the things that John had mentioned to me, which I didn't think was a bad idea on the town hall, is, the town hall over the next several years is going to need, some updates or repairs. Mm-hmm. But he seemed to think that initially the $40,000 that's in there may not be enough. So I think maybe he was considering kind of putting some more dollars and cents in there going for FY 22, 23, and 24. I didn't think that was a bad idea because $40,000 is really not going to get you that far. So maybe revisit that, John, when you get a chance on the on town hall and just what you think.
I mean, have we had anybody just take a comprehensive look at that building from soup to nuts? Because I don't know that we've ever had, this gets to the larger issue, which we've talked about before, but I don't know that we've ever had a comprehensive maintenance plan for all of the buildings that we own. And it seems like town hall, this is the first impression people have of how their tax dollars are being spent. This is where we have our town employees. And I know you've already addressed a fair number of issues just since you've been here, which I appreciate, with very little money, I might add. But I know that there's probably some other comprehensive issues. I'd be all for trying to get more money on this issue. You know, it's our building, and like I said, it's iconic. It's what everybody, you know, you look at it, and when you walk in, you know, you guys have heard me for 4 years complain about stuff. So I'm not going to, I'll spare you guys, but I agree, Kenny. I think we should put some money towards that.
Well, take a look at that, John, when you get a chance. Does anybody else have any questions on that?
I just have one question. The Plymouth County Hospital one, through you, Mr. Chair, to Mr. Dyer, who's on the Plymouth County Hospital, what would we be using that $750 for? Because I know CPC, quite a bit of what you guys are planning on doing is CPC eligible, so I just was kind of thinking, would we really be using like $750, or I don't know what it was earmarked for, I guess is what I'm asking.
Right, that figure was pulled before I got on to the Plymouth County committee, so when I was reviewing the materials, like, oh, okay, but I'm not exactly sure if they had something in mind for just the $750, but overall, to make a park, I don't know if CPC would be enough to get us to the point where we need to go.
All right, so you might need some additional.
We might need additional.
All right, okay, thank you.
Okay. So next up, new business, execute FY21 memorandum of agreement between the town of Hanson and the AFME Council 99, Local 17, the clerical union, and the highway union. So we've impact bargained contracts with both clerical union and highway, and we need to vote on the contracts and also execute them. So I'm looking for a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded. All those in favor? 5-0. Okay, thank you. And that's for both of them, clerical and highway, okay? All right, next up, under new business, vote to respectively approve an amendment to Matt Cahill's employment contract. Review, consider, and vote on a response to an open meeting law complaint against the Board of Selectmen dated November 2nd, 2020, filed by Mr. Bruce Young on file with the clerk. Okay, the board is required by law to vote any amendments to contracts in open session. As a result, we need to approve the amendment to Mr. Cahill's contract. I move to confirm the approval of the amendment to the employment contract between the town of Hanson and Matt Cahill as previously voted on September 12th, 2020. I'm sorry, September 2nd, 2020. September 12th is my daughter's birthday, I apologize. So I'm looking for a motion in a second. So moved. And can I get a second?
Yeah, Wes.
Wes, okay. All those in favor?
And I wasn't here, so I'm just, there's no real reason except I just wasn't here, so I'm just not going to participate.
That's fine. Ms. Tippy?
Yeah.
Okay.
Are we signing?
Mr. Dyer, sir.
Oh,
Okay, so we have 4-0-1, one abstention. Okay, now this is regarding the open meeting law. The board received the open meeting law complaint from Mr. Bruce Young, as I stated. Kate was asked to draft a response, which is in your packet. We need to submit a written response to Mr. Young's complaint. I move to approve the response to Mr. Young and to authorize Kate Federoff to submit the response to Mr. Young with the submission to the Division of Open Government.
so moved.
Do you have a second? Motion's made and seconded. All those in favor? Okay, so we have 4-0-1, Bria.
Oh, no, I voted on that.
Oh, did you? Okay,
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Because I didn't have to be here to...
I'm sorry, I didn't see your
Yeah.
hand. Okay. Next on the agenda, we have the Hanson Deregionalization Feasibility Committee update. Mr. Hickey, do we have Kim McCoy here?
Yep. Mr. Chair, Kim McCoy is going to...
Hi, Kim. How are you? Welcome. Thanks for coming.
From the committee.
So Kim is going to give us an update.
From the Deregionalization Committee. So the Deregionalization Committee members have been meeting since September 23rd, 2020. During each meeting, we reviewed various documents and brainstormed ideas of what information and documents we would need in order to create a thorough, complete, and valid recommendation based on data as to whether it makes sense for Hanson to split from the Whitman-Hanson Regional School District. We were able to acquire some financial information from the district, but unfortunately the documents were not as complete enough currently for our committee to make a full picture for the cost of educating the Hanson students within the district. Other members of the team attempted to acquire documents outlining other school districts' deregionalization feasibility studies, including Pembroke's withdrawal and East Brookfield's attempted withdrawal. While we were able to obtain the separation agreement for Pembroke, we were unable to obtain their feasibility study used by the Pembroke School District to determine if a split was appropriate. We were able to obtain the feasibility study for East Brookfield, so that provided much insight into what needed to be considered to complete this feasibility study. After facing multiple roadblocks in obtaining the necessary documents to prepare financial reports and other analysis, and after analyzing the level of detail included in the East Brookfield feasibility study, which is a 27-page document, it's become apparent that our volunteer, part-time citizen group is not equipped for a task of this complexity. There are too many components that need to be considered in order to make an informed recommendation about deregionalization for a group such as ours. While we have very skilled, passionate, and dedicated people on this committee that have been working tirelessly, the intricacies of a valid feasibility study are beyond our varied skill set, especially when acquiring the necessary data has become difficult and at times impossible. It is the recommendation of the committee to ask the Hanson Board of Selectmen to hire an unbiased consulting firm that will have more authority to obtain the necessary information and will understand the legal, fiscal, and educational aspects of a deregionalization plan better than a citizens group. There has already been an approval for a thorough audit in the district's financial records, so that information can be used by the consultant in preparation of their report. Once a report has been generated, this committee would like to review and share the information with the Board of Selectmen, as well as make the document available for the community to review and discuss regarding the feasibility of a split from the Whitman-Hanson Regional School District. Please know that the committee isn't making this recommendation lightly and without a heavy heart. We are making the recommendation because this study needs to be done thoroughly, completely, accurately, and with validity so that the citizens of Hanson can make the best decision possible for our town and for our students. Thank you for your consideration and understanding.
Thanks, Kim.
So I'm not sure that the audit's going to, I mean, it will give some pieces of information, but it really is, the lens is different, you know, from deregionalization to just sort of like laying things bare. But do we have an idea how much it would cost? Because obviously we could put it on the May town warrant, right, as an article.
Well, after we vote on it, I would be going to John to ask John to either do an RFP or, you know, get at least 3 bids on the process. The problem that we're having is, and like Kim said, these people, Laura, they're dedicated and we're trying, but the last 2 times that it actually worked was in East Brookfield, right, and in Pembroke, and they both had firms that did this, and we're talking millions and millions and millions of dollars over the foreseeable future. And for 7 people, no matter how dedicated they are and how much time we put in, we just can't give it what it deserves.
That makes sense to me, Jim, because, again, you guys are volunteers, you've got full-time jobs, you've got lives, right? And as dedicated as you are, and they were a fantastic group of people. Wes and I were impressed with every single person, and the people that we didn't pick we were impressed with. So I have no problem. It totally 100% makes sense to me to hire somebody. I'm just wondering, it's hard for me to say, to make a vote, like, are we talking about 100,000, 250,000? Like, how much would it cost us to get a 50,000? Like, can we get
I think we can vote to inquire of the cost of it.
Okay, so moved.
And
That's really.
yeah, and that's.
Because it just sounds like you guys are at a standstill, and there's only so much information that you're able to get, and you need a lot more important information in order to get the answers, and you can't get it.
You know what, though, this was helpful, right? Because now you know what you don't know, and now we know how big it is. And so when people say, oh, this is a back of the envelope thing, you guys should be able to figure this out in 2 weeks or less, that's not true. Because there's a lot of, I'm exaggerating, obviously, but, well, a little bit. So I move that we authorize John to look into the cost of consulting for the purposes of this. And I guess maybe a good place to start, obviously, John, would be see if we forensically could figure out who Brookfield and Pembroke used.
We actually researched the Pembroke Group. That company's no longer in business, but
that's a
Brookfield Group is, and their website's very active. You can actually see probably upwards of 100 different reports they've written on their webpage. So theirs is a very thorough. Their website's very good.
And you guys still may be needed once you, if we're able to hire a firm and get there down the road, you guys still may be needed.
We didn't disband.
You didn't disband, no.
But and people are still working on it, but it's gotten to the point where we need more information, and I don't want to say that we're not getting, but it's like Laura said, you got full-time jobs, you got families. We're meeting every other week for, 2 hours.
Well, it's got to be difficult getting information.
This is an
you need a
intense,
firm that's going to be there 8 hours a day, 5 days a week.
So to Kenny's point, Jim, in the fact that you haven't, disbanded yet, how do you see this working? Like, let's ideally wave the ideal magic wand. John's able to locate a consulting firm. We're able to get the funding. We're able to get them to go and get that information, and then they bring the results back to you guys to kind of present to the selectmen, or how do you see that?
That's what we were looking at. That they would talk to us, of course, with the kind of money that we would be spending. Obviously, we would, bring it in front of the board, whether it goes to the people, from a meeting, or it goes in a warrant or a vote. That's so far away right now. We just want to get a price on what it's going to cost.
Okay, but I think, like, if we are able to get the consultant, it would be good for them to work with your team, with the committee, because you guys know what we're looking to get from it.
Oh, absolutely.
So,
And basically right now we're just in a little hiatus mode, but, these people are chopping at the bit to get answers.
Well, we thank you, and we thank the guys that have been meeting, and I made a motion, and I don't think anybody seconded it.
No, just need a second.
West seconds.
Second by Mr. Bloss. Any more discussion? All those in favor?
I can vote on it.
5-0. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Kim, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. We really appreciate your efforts. And your work is not done yet, young lady.
She's been awesome.
Okay, next up, new business. We have accept October donations. We have one for a Margaret Kitchenham for $50 for the fire department gift. And then we have another one, swag, $40 for the 200th anniversary commission.
And then we've got did you want to do the next one separately?
You will do it separate. I was just going to read a 5-second thing on that.
All right, so moved. Second.
Motion's made and seconded. All those in favor? 5-0. Okay. So next we have accept donations of yard signs from the Hanson Rod and Gun Club and the Halloween decorations from Joan and Brian Fazzetti to Camp Kawani. So I have an email here from Dory, yard signs for the story, A Bird's Eye View, used for the story walk for the month of September, donated by the Hanson Rod and Gun Club. Halloween decorations of 4 motion monsters, 10 hanging ghosts, and various pumpkins, etc., used for the Halloween Spooktacular, donated by Joan and Brian Fazzetti.
So moved.
Second.
And may I just say something?
Yes, absolutely.
You know, I just want to say it's been very inspirational to see how the guys at Camp Kiwanee, the Recreation Commission, has kept at it trying to get events in the middle of all this pandemonium that we've had. And Dory Jameson had written that book, The Bird's Eye View, and they did a lovely little story walk on Smitty's Bog and through Camp Kiwanee, and it was a great way for the kids to get out. And then that Halloween Spooktacular was very well attended too, and actually Joan and Brian's decorations really made a big difference. But I just want to give a shout out to them because I think they're really, in the middle of all this stuff, they're just chugging along, trying to get it done.
Yeah.
So.
Great point. Okay, next up.
I think it was just moved and seconded, I'm sorry.
Yep, okay. Thank you for paying attention. All those in favor? 5-0. Okay, next we have use McClellan School parking lot for the Drive-By Festival of Lights with Santa. So I have an email from Lieutenant Charlie Barons. I'm not going to read the whole thing to you, but we'd like to do something for the community a little bit different. As you guys know, the past 7 years we've had the Christmas tree lighting at Town Hall, so we're going to have to postpone that this year. But the committee and the fire department would like to do something for the community. Their thoughts is a light festival and the opportunity for kids to see Santa without getting out of their cars. And they're looking for permission to use the McClellan School parking lot for the cars to drive in and out. This event would be December 11th and December 12th. So,
and again, the fire department has been amazing through the whole pandemic. The birthday party stuff, and they've got a day job. They've got stuff they're doing. This is amazing. This is going to be great. It's going to bring a lot of joy. So moved.
Motion's made and seconded. Any questions? All those in favor? 5-0. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Barons. Okay, next up on the agenda, the food pantry, use the food pantry parking lot for the Lugnuts Car Club collection of Christmas toys for the Hanson Community Christmas event. So I have another email here from Ms. Carolyn Marshman, who is, her and Hal are very well known. I know them from cheerleading years ago. And the Lugnut, they would like to drop off, they're going to have a toy collection on November 29th from 9 to 3. And toys will be donated to the Hanson Community Christmas event. The club has, they proudly held the honor of being the largest collector of holiday toys in southeastern Massachusetts for the past 5 years, and I think that's a great idea. They're looking for permission to use the parking lot at the food pantry for this event.
So moved.
Second. Motion's made and seconded. All those in favor? 5-0. Great job. Thank you, Mr. and Mrs. Marshman. Okay, next up, use the town green on April 17th from 1 a.m. to 12 p.m. for the second annual first cast of Pat's Fishing Derby. Is that 1 a.m.?
7:30 a.m. till 12:30.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I have 1 a.m. 7:30 a.m. till 12:30 a.m.
That's some dedicated fishers there. So moved. Hey, you never know. You never know.
Do I have a second for Pat's Fishing Derby?
Could I make an amendment?
Yes, Mr. Dias.
Prior with approval with Board of Health.
Yes.
As we don't know where we are.
If you flip it over, you'll see the Board of Health.
He said as long as the protocol is adhered to, we will be okay. But yeah, you're right. Who knows what could happen?
That's a good point, Mr. Dias. That's a great point. So we just, as we get closer, we'll just have to have them circle back and to the Board of Health and just get a, it's really too early now, so. But yeah, good point. Did we get a second?
Yeah, that was moved and seconded.
All those in favor? 5-0. All right, that's official. There's a lot going
A
on.
lot of generosity here.
Okay, next up, accept a gift of $5,000 from the Center of Technology and Civic Life. So I read through this on Sunday, and it looks like that it's a grant to be used for election administration needs. Money can only be used, well, Mr. Stanbrook, I shouldn't steal your thunder, is there anything?
Okay, no.
All right. So the money can only be used towards that, and then there's certain time frames with dates in here that the grant project period, June 15, 2020 through December 31st, 2020, that represents the dates between which the coverage cost can be applied towards the grant. So I thought that was pretty cool. Does anybody have any questions? Yes.
I just want to make sure that we acknowledge the hard work that Beth had put into applying for this grant, because a lot of communities across the nation actually have applied to receive some sort of funds from the Center for Tech and Civic Life. So I just want to say thank you very much to Beth and Jean for all the hard work that they put into it.
And that's good to know. And I'm wondering, John, through you, Mr. Chair, to John, I assume she's able to use this to pay retroactive, like fees she's already incurred, basically. Yes. Okay.
Good. Any more questions?
Nope, so moved.
Looking for a second. Moved and seconded. All those in favor? 5-0. All right. Great. Okay, next up, a letter of support for Metro South Chamber of Commerce. So you'll see in here somewhere, John had wrote an email.
It's on the flip side of the,
This one,
John, yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
This one is from Metro South Regional Economic Development Organization. They would like the Board of Selectmen to support regionally based efforts to help existing businesses grow to scale and to attract new businesses to the state through providing business assistance in various forms. They get a better chance of being able to do that by applying the state designation as a regional economic development organization. More towns join in. They have the backside of this paper is a sample letter they have already written. So this is what the letter would say. It's just a draft. And last year they received 10 letters of support from communities such as Brockton and surrounding towns. So, just want to see what the board would like me to write a that letter of support to Metro South Regional Economic Development Organization.
so moved.
Second.
And John, you think we should? To support them, you think we should?
I believe so. It's helping with permitting and helps with grants to small businesses. So
Okay, Mr. Dyer.
I can speak on behalf of Mr. Chris Cooney and Kayla May. I worked with them in my day job, and they're both great people that work with small businesses to make sure that they're connecting everyone together.
Okay.
Between business to business, business to residents, business to government. They are a keystone to our community. They do a lot of behind the scenes work.
Okay, good.
To making sure economic development is a thing.
Well, you answered my question. So I'm looking for a motion.
So moved.
I think we already moved and seconded.
I'm a little behind today. All those in favor? 5-0. It's your joint. Yeah, trying. Okay, next up, new business. Accept donation of an apple tree in memory of Andrea Epps.
So moved.
Mr. Chair, if I may?
Yes, can I just get a second and then Mr. Dyer?
Second.
Second, okay. Go ahead, Mr. Dyer.
I just wanted to give a quick background to this apple tree. Andrea and Charlie have been residents of Hanson for over 35 years. And unfortunately, Andrea had passed earlier this year due to health. and their family wanted to have a giving tree in Andrea's name, so they wanted to donate an apple tree to the town of Hanson. So I was approached to see if we were interested, and I think this would be a great addition up at the community garden as we plan to expand up there and build an orchard in a future park. So
what type of apple tree you plan on planting over there?
I believe that I don't know the specific genus on this, but it's Malus, SPP, seeing how you like Latin names and trees. But this tree is very special as it's coming from one of the orchards from the Kennedy Foundation, or Kennedy family.
All right, excellent.
Excuse me, Mr. Chair.
Yes, Mr. Hickey.
What is your favorite kind of apple?
Crab apple.
That makes sense.
See, there you go. Matt, whatever one Kenny wants, let's plant that one.
So this will be the first of the orchard.
Correct.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's great.
All right, all those in favor of the apple tree? 5-0. Okay, old business. Brian, are you out there, Brian? Perfect. No, you're right on time. So I'm not sure that we'll need you, but you can pop up here if we do. So we're going to revisit the first right of refusal here for 485 Winter Street. I don't know if you guys got a chance to read Brian's email back. So once you, where'd you go? Oh, there you are. Brian, stand up there, please, and just give us a, you know how you put your conclusion in there? By the way, that was great, that email, and I learned some stuff like the tolling and stuff like that. So just give us briefly where we are. On our last meeting, we were approached on, we have the first right of refusal on a property on Winter Street, and the board discussed whether or not, we were going to exercise that right, and then we decided that we needed more information before, based on, whether or not we could financially do it. We needed to know how much time that the town had before we needed to exercise that right. So Brian was the one that answered back to the board to let us know and answer a few of those questions. So if you want to just share that with everyone, that would be great.
So let me address a few procedural aspects of where you're at in the process, and maybe that'll frame sort of where you want to go and where you'd like to center the discussion. So notwithstanding the pandemic, there's a certain statutory process for addressing a notice that you received under what we call chapter lands, one of the three chapters that are classifications for tax purposes for these types of parcels. So when you receive the notice, the very first step that you need to consider is whether or not it's sufficient within the statute. So that's an option that the board has. The board doesn't have to, it is not required to reject the notice. And oftentimes, a board might know what it wants to do, substantively on the application, and the deficiencies aren't so material that it weighs on that decision. So some boards will elect just to proceed, notwithstanding. However, sometimes you're presented with a notice that's so deficient you can't cogently make a decision because you just don't have enough information. So that's the first choice you're going to have to look at. But that's supposed to happen within 30 days under normal circumstances. All these time periods are told. You may have heard, in fact, that there's a recent piece of legislation passed that affects permitting timelines, but there's nothing in that legislation that affects the chapter land timeline. So we're still within this tolling period. So after the 30 days, you can decide whether or not to move on to the next step. So if you elect to reject the notice, we send a written notice of deficiency, and that stops everything until you get a compliant notice back in response. If you don't send that notice within the first 30 days, then your clock starts ticking on acting on the application substantively. So you have a period of time to consider whether or not you want to purchase it. If you elect to purchase it, you have to match the terms of the purchase and sale agreement. You have to get a town meeting vote or some other source of funding to do that. And what we do is we send back a letter saying that the board is elected to exercise its right. Here's the purchase and sale agreement with all the material terms and conditions involved. Now, the board can only make that decision at a public hearing. So, step one is you consider whether or not to issue a notice of deficiency. If you do or don't, that governs what you do next. If you don't issue the notice, you can move right to a public hearing and then decide whether or not to exercise the right. Now, in some cases, the board knows right off the top that the town's not going to exercise the right. So then you don't need a public hearing. You only need the public hearing if you are going to elect to exercise the right ultimately, or at least consider it. So if it's fairly debatable, often you just move right to the public hearing because you can accept or reject at that point one way or the other. But if you don't schedule the public hearing, you can't accept it. So that's the procedural framework that we're in. Now, in terms of the substance, I'm happy to provide any guidance that you think might be helpful in terms of weighing the merits of it. But you probably know the parcel a lot better than I do, and what you're dealing with. So I'm happy to answer any questions if you have them. But really, I think my contribution right now is sort of the procedural aspects and what the board should do next.
So if I understand the email correctly, we don't have to make any decisions right now because of the governor's emergency order due to COVID-19.
That's correct. The time period is completely told for the time being. Until there's new legislation that changes that, we're not aware of any right now. But like I said, there was recent legislation on the permitting side, special permit variances, things like that. So it wouldn't shock me if there's one coming down at some point dealing with the chapter lands, but at this point not. So you're not under any time period where you would lose the right.
Okay. And also in your email, you spoke about the property, so they have to disclose to us what the intent of the property is, and they have not done that?
That's correct.
So at what point would we go back to them? If we're going to consider exercising the town's right, at what point do we go back to them and let them know, hey, listen, you need to package this up correctly so the town can at least consider it?
Excuse me. So that would be now. So typically, notwithstanding the tolling, you would do that in the first 30 days. Okay. And we put together a very short letter. It just says the statute requires this. We received 1, 2, and 3, but not 4, 5, and 6. Please provide us with the information required by the statute, and we'll take it under consideration at that time.
Okay, so I think at a minimum we should do that.
Yeah, you know, respond and just
respond and at least get the proper information from them before we make any decisions or anything.
Yeah, I agree. Do we need a motion? Do we need
to instruct us to prepare and issue that letter? That would be proper.
So moved.
And the issue that you raised is a substantive one.
Yeah.
There are other things like assessor's map and parcel number. Well, we have that information. So we wouldn't necessarily need to ask them to provide it because we're the keepers of that info. But the future purposes and intent of conveying or taking the land out of chapter, that's pretty material. Mm-hmm. You probably want to know what you're dealing with down the road.
No, that was a great email. It was very informative, and it broke it down, you know, exactly. So, do we have a second? Second. Any more questions? All those in favor? 5-0.
I'd say it was more than just informative because it's really a blueprint for future things that we might get approached for because, you know, this is a whole learning process and we haven't really had this happen a lot. So it was great. Thank you.
And this can sometimes be a tricky area of the law, so that's why we write it in the form that we do, so that maybe it'll be 2 years before you see another one, but now you have the outline.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you, Brian.
Well, Brian, you're certainly no Kate, but you did a great job.
Wow. I hear that.
How was he supposed to?
I hear that all the time.
Not the first time I heard it.
It's not the first time.
You're okay.
Thank you. We appreciate it. Okay. Next up, we're moving right along. I'm trying to find my agenda. Okay, approve the minutes for October 21st, 2020. Did you guys review the minutes?
Yep.
I have a motion to approve the minutes?
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
I'd like to make one edit. Down where it says adjournment, it should be 6:30 p.m.
Good point.
Korea, can you just make note of that for us, please? Okay, anything else? Did I get a second? I didn't hear, I'm sorry. Okay, all those in favor? 5-0.
No, I wasn't here.
Oh, I'm sorry. Jim wasn't here, so 4-0-1. Okay, let's check the time here. 6:55. Mr. Stanbrook, how much time do you need?
Get my motor mouth going here.
No pressure, but you have 5 minutes.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just under old business, just the town election was November 3rd. I wanted to read something by Beth Sloan, the town clerk. She did a fantastic job. She says the November 3rd state election was held at Hanson Middle School. It went very well. We had 84% of the 8,059 registered voters in Hanson participating. Voting was done by mail-in ballot, early voting in person at the town hall or casting a ballot on election day. We had 1,790 people in-person early voters come inside town hall to vote. We had 2,193 ballots mailed or put into our drop-off box, and 2,816 voters came in on election day. For a total of 6,799 votes. And the town clerk's office would like to thank all of our election workers for an outstanding job. They were invaluable in running an efficient and accurate election while ensuring that the election ran smoothly while social distancing was enforced, and all the while wearing a mask for over 16 hours. So, great job, that Sloan, and everyone that was working that day did a great job all around. Next on business, just tax levy. We talked about the tax levy at the last meeting, and just some quick statistics. The tax rate is going to be $15.10 per thousand evaluation for fiscal year 21 versus $15.27 last year, fiscal year 20. The average single-family residential house value for fiscal year 21 is $367,689. The fiscal year 21 average single-family residential tax bill will be $5,552.10. Last year, the average single-family residential tax bill was $5,411.20. So the increase in fiscal year 21 versus fiscal year 20 for the average single-family residential bill is $140.90, or 2.6%. And I included in your packet some ways to slice and dice the data about the tax levy. Again, the new growth, just for everyone knows what new growth is, it's the increases in value to a property due to new construction and not because of any type of general increase in property values. And it's calculated by the value of the new growth times the previous year's tax rate. So again, in your packet you have a chart kind of breaks down where the new growth came from. The total new growth for fiscal year 21 was $267,198. $12.6 million of the overall $17.5 million of growth was in single-family residential and residential condos. So that's where the growth is in town, residential, both houses and condos. Moving on old business, at the last meeting, we talked about a letter to the governor and the lieutenant governor to support the North River Commission budget. I wrote that letter, and it's in the packet, and I sent it. Quick update from North and South River Watershed Association. Partial funding has been restored, and we're still working with the governor and the lieutenant governor on trying to find some other solutions to get the rest of it. Whitman-Hanson Regional School District audit timeline. I have received the tentative timeline from our vendor for the audit. The audit will start the week of November 30th. We'll have a tentative completion date in March. Again, the cost of the operation of the comparative audit is $1,000. That will be split 50-50 between the towns of Whitman and Hanson. Everyone remembers what this audit is supposed to do. I'm just going to real quickly read it. It's going to review all school accounts, program revenues, revolving accounts, excess and deficiency funds, non-school and non-state revenues, such as rental fees, the use of buildings and fields, and do some detailed expenditure breakdowns, and also do some existing and historic district spending, and compare the district to other districts in the Commonwealth with similar size and neighborhoods. So that was the charge of the fund of the audit back in March, right before Christmas. New business, again, the town administrative special act requires me to give the board an update on all outstanding legal matters. I've done so. I've given you the monthly update via letter to you. Again, it will not be a public document. It may contain personnel, union bargaining, or health-related issues that cannot be discussed in public session, but I have complied with my requirements under the Act. Again, on the new business of the monthly financial report, Special Act comprising a monthly financial report to the board. Town accountant Todd Hassett has been providing me that report monthly. I'll pass it along the latest report through October. To you, if you have any questions on that report, please let me know, and I'll forward them to Todd for clarification. Again, on new business, the Regional Old Colony Communications Center has worked with Hanson Police and Hanson Fire to secure two grants for the town, totaling $400,000 for fiscal year 21. $200,000 is the fiscal year 21 state 911 department support and incentive funding grant, and another $200,000 is the fiscal year 21 state 911 department development grant transition award. So it's a great job by Director Mahoney at the Rock and also by Chiefs Nixon and Thompson for being able to secure those state grants to the town. That's real money, and a great job all around up there. On the Whitman-Hanson Regional School Committee agenda for tomorrow night's meeting, they're going to be asking for the towns to appoint a member town municipal representative for collective bargaining. Again, it's usually in your packet you have a letter from the superintendent explaining what that is. It's usually one of the two town administrators, either Whitman-Hanson that serve as a representative. I have discussed it with the new Whitman town administrator, Lisa Green, and she's graciously offered to be the town's rep in collective bargaining in the school. Ms. Green is an attorney and is well versed in the issues facing the towns and schools, and I believe she'll make an excellent municipal rep for collective bargaining. So, Chairman Mitchell and I will be attending the school committee tomorrow night, and we'll pass that information along in person, but we just want to let everyone know that that's where we're going with that. Again, the new business staying with the school committee theme. I attended the November 4th school committee meeting remotely to hear information about an announcement by school committee member David Forth and Whitman that the district and the towns of Whitman and Hanson were under investigation by several state agencies. Mr. Forth didn't have any specifics at the meeting. He did say he was contacted by the Inspector General, the Attorney General, and the Department of Revenue and its subdivision of the Division of Local Services about an investigation, and that investigation is ongoing. I haven't heard any more information on it. Again, I'll be attending the meeting tomorrow night. It is on their agenda to discuss again. Maybe there'll be more information there, but I don't have any specifics on what's going on with that investigation. The Council on Aging, again, the new business Council on Aging supported daycare programs will be closing down as of November 27th. If they're unable to operate given the COVID restrictions, and there's no money left in the fund to pay the employees, that fund is being funded by a special revenue fund. Director Mayor Collins and I were hopeful that we were moving into a situation where COVID restrictions could be lifted, the program could start up again, but the latest surge is actually really helpful. So I'd just like to thank everyone that made that program function, and the love and care that they showed for the town's most vulnerable residents. They did a great job. Damn shame. Finally, new business. My review form that we discussed back in September is in your packet, and that's going to be coming up and coming attractions at the next meeting for Tuesday, December 8th at 6 p.m. In the Board of Selectmen's meeting. We'll just discuss my review and we'll be distributing a review forms and other topics. And that's it. Thank you very much, Chairman.
Okay, Carol.
Sorry.
No, that's fine. Carol, we're going to have a 5-minute just brief recess so we can prepare for the marijuana cultivation, manufacturing, special permit hearing. Okay, welcome back. So this is the start of our joint meeting with the Zoning Board of Appeals. And you guys want to, Bill, you want to open up?
The Hanson Board of Appeals will hold a public hearing on August 25th, 2020 at 7:15 in Hanson Town Hall, MGL Chapter 48, on the application of Solely Engineering for a variance under Town of Hanson zoning bylaws, Section 7B, table of dimensional requirements, and Section 9B2, A through C. and site plan approval for section 7G1 through 5 to allow for the operation of the marijuana cultivation facility at 50 Commercial Way, map 59, lot 17-6, Kansas Assessors Map. Property is located in the commercial industrial zone and flexible overlay zone. This meeting was continued to this evening, 11/17 at 7 p.m. The joint meeting with the Hampton Town Selectmen. At this point, why don't I open it up to Solely Engineering?
Good evening, members. Good evening, members. Represent the Board of Selectmen and Zoning Board of Appeals. We recommend Kevin Soley. I'm a licensed professional engineer in the city of Massachusetts, Solely Engineering. Also, here in New York City, Boston. With me tonight is Casey Burke from my office, and also some representatives from Crest LLC, the operator facility. So, we've actually had multiple hearings in front of both the selectmen and the ZBA. We've been able to secure pretty much the majority of the grants that are considered the project. And what the main focus of tonight's hearing is to really kind of review some of the previous comments that were issued for the project, and then our revised responses to those comments. I want to thank Scott from Environmental Partners. They did provide pretty good comprehensive comment letter, and I believe they just issued a revised review of our latest plans. I think that was earlier Monday. I think we were able to address the majority of their comments, and their latest letter actually identified most of those items have been closed. There are a few items that are still remaining, which I think we can certainly discuss this evening. And hopefully we can try to close this out and make sure that we address all the comments from the selectmen and the Zoning Board of Appeals. So to orient everybody, so the sites, everyone's probably right at this point, is located at the intersection of Commercial Way and Franklin Street, and we're looking for, the proposal is to provide a small building expansion to provide for that marijuana cultivation facility. One of the other changes that's new from our last hearing for the selectmen release is we did provide a phased plan for this project, which will enable the operators to essentially move into the existing facility, start with a conventional grow cultivation operation, and then a phase 2 approach, which will expand some of the additional site improvements and also incorporate the building additions as well. So we wanted to make sure we provided everybody enough sufficient detail on how that would be implemented, how it would be incorporated, so that there's enough measures in place to ensure that as part of phase 1, certain site and building improvements are established, and then as part of phase 2, we can roll into that next phase. So that was something else we provided with additional detail. So we can talk through the phase approach. Casey, why don't you run through the components of phase 1?
For the recommending is Casey Burke. I'm a civil engineer, Solely Engineering. So yeah, the phase 1 approach, we were pretty much doing exactly what we're going to do in phase 2 for the front half of the project, including the parking in the front and the side drive that we were using from 96 to 54 and the landscape area associated with that. We are also providing the ramp for the ADA accessible route to the front door, and we will be demoing the existing ramp that's there that is not ADA compliant. We're providing improvements to the front drainage system with a hydrodynamic separator tied to the infiltration catch basins, and then those catch basins will have high-level flow pipes that will go out and drain out to the front. Now the drainage, we're matching the existing drainage patterns. Currently right now what happens is these infiltration basins, although we've not seen it in many times, they do overtop at higher cylinder and it flows out into commercial way currently. So we're kind of keeping the same drainage pattern, but we're significantly improving it with water quality measures in the rear of the site, we're very minimal kind of starting the detention basin and providing a water quality swale where this drainage, the roof drainage and the existing pavement to the rear will drain into a level spreader, go into a sediment forebed, and then travel into a water quality swale that will have a little detention basin that will outlet to where we intend to outlet in phase 2. And then we have the equipment concrete pad for the chiller unit in the rear, and then we will also be providing our proposed utilities that are on the front of the building to the respective locations in the west.
One of the important things I wanted to make sure we brought up is that even with some of the comments that we'll go through, we have been working with Public Works regarding that outlet, and in our discussions with them, they actually prefer to have us not connect directly to their system and have it kind of travel via forward flow, kind of matching existing, but what we've been able to do is prevent that from kind of happening throughout the entire parking lot, as I go through a series of test cases with additional water quality measures and discharging to the corner. Again, you've been able to reduce the overall rate of runoff from that area as well, which is very pleased with. Additionally, we're also including all of our concrete pads for all the mechanical units. That's all established, and this actually represents a reduction in the impervious from, I think, the last iteration that we had presented to the boards. Also, one of the other big concerns that kind of came through both peer review comments and some of the discussions was the presence of underground storage tank for water level. We've actually been able to adjust the internal operation of the facility and remove those tanks. So we're no longer proposing to provide any underground tanks for storage of runoff water, runoff everything. That's certainly a benefit, and I think that helps also because given that we are in that level of protection zone, that's something that we want to make sure we address for everybody. That summarizes the substantive changes, I think, from between phase 1 and phase 2. We obviously have our detailed phase 2 plan. We're happy to go through those in detail or answer questions either board has. And then, we can certainly kind of go through the peer review comments in detail. I'm not sure if you want us to kind of go through our responses to the new ones or offer, I think, Scott an opportunity to present his comments. I think we can certainly address all of them and answer questions and concerns. The majority of them we can actually accommodate. Some of them we can select some different opinions on. We can certainly dive into those. I guess I'd ask if anyone has any questions that they may want to ask or if anyone has any preference on how we move forward.
So let's go when we go through rough regard to the special permit, let's go through the line items in regard to the DDA. Sure. And that way we can, kind of check off the ones that you published over your reform of the Scott and the ones that, maybe there was a variance on the revenue aspect of it. We can kind of go through that one by one. Most of them can flip. There's a few we should touch upon. Sure. So why don't we start there on the zoning aspect and kind of go through this. And then Scott, if you can come up, maybe a little closer that we can respond to these if we have, need your, all right.
Thank you. So, from the zoning standpoint, I think most of Scott's comments were very well put together, and I appreciate the constructive response to all response. Regarding the site plan field special permit component, I think kind of going through his comments on page 2, we closed the majority of the items. In regard to the traffic study, we did not provide a traffic study as part of this application. We did provide a trip generation assessment based on comparable uses. And there wasn't a requirement for a traffic study. Generally, there are some concerns with a lot of the dispensary retail locations that generate a lot of traffic. But this application is just a cultivation facility. It would not have the same trips, so it wouldn't have that same potential impact. I think, we've kind of provided that information, and I think Scott was generally okay with that, but it was really something for the board to consider from the zoning standpoint whether or not they felt the traffic study would be necessary.
What was that?
That was 3B.
Scott, you want to comment that, please? Can you comment on that aspect of the traffic study and the site specific? Do you think it's necessary that there should be a traffic study there in the industrial park, or?
The trips that they showed were consistent with ITE trip generation standards, ITE trip generation manuals. They were very low. So I think that if they did a traffic study, it would generally show, no real impact or no degradation of service. So in my opinion, I don't think a traffic study is necessarily warranted. You can require them to do one to prove it. I mean, that's just my feeling. We don't have numbers to show that. It was an expensive undertaking it right now. With the way traffic is, there's a whole lot of traffic on the roads because people are getting their homes. So you can have any issues with that. Generally, the incidence for the need of a traffic study is whether or not you're adding more than 100 trips at any intersection during that peak hour of traffic activity. And our traffic generation, trip generation is so low, we wouldn't be putting 100 trips at any intersection, let alone or even driveway during that peak hour. So we basically, we have traffic engineers and have to look at this. That was one item that was still kind of left over from the discussion we wanted to get discussed. Continuing on to his comments, we actually did secure a number of additional variances as part of kind of in response to Scott's comments. We kind of identified a number of existing deficiencies which the site doesn't meet zoning standards. Generally, that's an existing non-conforming situation. We apply for variances for those anyways, but actually we included a lot of those ones that are necessary, and all of the variances that we did need to secure have been secured by the zoning board of appeals.
Is that true, Blue?
The ones that I thought were needed, we did approve. There were a few in question. One of them was the earth removal, I think it was. I think that's a general bylaw. I don't think that's a zoning specifics bylaw. I think it's called for in a different situation. I think when you're dealing with construction within one site, I think that if you need to remove site in order to accomplish the site work, I think that the general bylaw was meant for other circumstances. I don't really think it pertains to this, so I didn't think we needed a variance on that. I'm not sure, Brian, did you ever look at that? Did you agree or disagree that you need to remove place?
For the record, Brian went to town council about it.
I haven't specifically looked at that, but it is general bylaw, so we wouldn't be a variance situation in any event. So we go to a building permit or do any other work that we trigger that it doesn't, the building official to direct them towards that or not. So it's not something that you need to consider in the site plan review process per se.
Well, but I think you expand upon that, so that's the earth removal within 4 feet of seasonal high ground. Yes. And one of the comments that kind of came from Scott is, so we did test it throughout the entire site. In one test that we found, some redox features, I think 8 feet below the grade. And that's in the area where it's close detention base. But as we did the test throughout the balance of the site, the depth to redox was much deeper. And based on our investigations and through our observations, we kind of felt that lower or that higher redox elevation was actually seemed to be in an area where there was fill place, which kind of was creating a perched groundwater situation. And when you look at the data in its entirety across the entire site, we felt that was more of an outlier than a general representation of where seasonal high groundwater existed. So that being said, we are actually not removing any earth within 4 feet of seasonal high groundwater, because when you look at that one specific location, you really saw the perch table and not consistent with where the seasonal high groundwater throughout the entire site. We still maintain that we think we're actually going to meet that requirement because based on our testing investigations that are relevant to the site, we won't be observing that one specific site code. But we haven't had a chance to review that with Brian. This is the first he's hearing of kind of like the more specifics regarding our investigations and where we observed that testing. But I think based on that, we don't believe that we require that variance.
Well, I mean, so what you're saying is that the perched water table is inconsistent because there was fill put in there.
Yes.
Some time ago, and you guys saw that there were undisturbed soils.
Exactly, and as you even dug through that area, you started to see the redoxymorphic features, which is more indicative of seasonal high groundwater, which is consistent at every other test as well.
And that's why there was some consistency.
Exactly.
And I there was a comment from Scott, there were inconsistencies for those, and that would explain it. Do you want to comment that, Scott?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard for me to comment on having seen the whole. His explanation is reasonable, and I actually thought the same thing when I saw the results of the test holes. However, it's hard for me to comment having not been out there in the field taking a look at the hole. There was one hole where I think it was like 2 feet below, right, just near the test, which is near the detention basin. And so, if that is truly seasonal high groundwater, you would not have 4 feet of separation triggering the earth movement. But again, I was not going to look at the hole. I don't really, it's hard for me to tell. It is a developed site, so there is still on the site, and you do have that situation where infill soils, you might get water that's going to percolate in the soil, hit a spot where it sits, and you get that redox. So, that's why I made a comment.
I mean, I guess to add on that, if you were looking at stormwater, so stormwater lens don't require a peer review for test pit right?
Sometimes they do, and sometimes they don't. I'm not really sure if you require it here. Typically, when I'm doing reviews, I always ask the town if they want me to be out there. Just they went ahead and did the whole for my first letter.
Yeah.
Presumably their fees and like control evaluators. So I would assume that it has been above board. And to be honest with you, to see a hole like that with the soil models that high, if they were trying to do something deceptive, they wouldn't have shown that in the test.
Right. So the test pits were done by another company, not by us. I was out there to observe it as well. But Riverhawk LLC were the ones that performed the test pit, which is obviously they have no bias, and they showed what they saw. And I actually did see the 22, 24 inch as well, and I came to the conclusion that it was most likely a perched water table. Everything below it was had no redoxymorphic features until it got to the lower elevation, where it was consistent throughout the whole, and this spot was only consistent on one side.
The DC was trying to apply for the evaluator.
Yeah, well, that was my point. I mean, obviously with Board of Health and Correct Test, that was I guess that's what I was alluding to with that. In this situation, I think with our stormwater management, we don't require the witness per se be, if they're a licensed or evaluator, if they're really face value that, when it's authorized and
we have to make sure we're designing something that we know works and is consistent with the regulations. So we appreciate it.
Excellent.
Yes. So moving on to this letter, we had actually talked at the last hearing, going on to number 7, page 5 of the council, that is security on the building. And I think we actually discussed this with town council. Our security is kind of focused around the building itself, with cameras and things like that, and not within the facility. We weren't proposing the full perimeter fencing to we were trying to not make it feel that way. And I think that was generally acceptable to the council, but that was a response to that. And I think Scott basically just went with more whether or not we felt that was appropriate from a security standpoint. Regarding setbacks, number 8, the existing setbacks are 49 feet. That's an existing non-conforming situation. We're not exacerbating that or changing that in any way. And our proposed expansion is up to by
I don't recall, was that another variance? I know there were 3 different variances at the last meeting. Was that one of the other ones?
No.
Okay, so that was one that you said we didn't need this. Exactly.
Moving on, and again, thank you for structuring your second response. We reduced that. It's nice to see all these items closed. Number 12, though, storm drainage design to be consistent with the planning board subdivision regulations. We're going to kind of go through some of the other stormwater comments in a few minutes, but that will talk to that. Okay, so now going on to I think that's actually all the zoning related issues from the ZBA standpoint. I think everything else is really focused on the stormwater design. We can kind of go through all the responses to those, but I also think that we're also going to kind of handle conservation.
So that was the next thing I was going to say. I was going to defer stormwater to conservation, make that a condition of our approval that you meet the requirements, and if you can come on with it. That's right. So, rather than hash through that, we're going to kind of give them the stormwater aspect of handle, and you can give all, that stuff. I guess my only, and again, this is something that, you have a 2-to-1 slope on the basins. Mm-hmm. I guess my only comment would be, based on that slope, how deep is the basins? So I'm not.
The total depth of the basin, I think, is about 4.5 feet. At its deepest, in the center of the basin. Yep. You maintain a foot of freeboard in there under your storming, so there's about 3.5 feet there. Those 2-to-1 slopes is really more of like a maintenance related item. I think that's something that Scott actually mentioned, which is really something that kind of gets handled from an on-site operation standpoint. And we have an O&M manual that's part of the record that establishes and discusses how those feature slopes should be maintained, mowed, throughout their duration of their existence in site operations. So, I do think that's, we certainly, we've worked on a number of projects and we've incorporated similar slopes to bases on 2-to-1 slope. We could also provide some additional, slope stabilization from the erosion control blanket prior to seeding the vegetation to provide additional strength and security for that slope. But it's not outside the norm from an engineering standpoint or practice standpoint to have basins with those slopes. I would like to go deeper than 2-to-1 when we have other issues from a stability standpoint, but that's certainly a manageable slope. And we've built in, the maintenance of those into our O&M manual as well. So that's kind of more of like an on-site maintenance thing. I think the subdivision regulations where that requirement lives is generally geared towards subdivision roads and municipal stormwater basins, which the town then has to own and maintain in perpetuity. I'll say it's unique to apply subdivision regulations to private site development. That's not the norm in most municipalities throughout Massachusetts, or even throughout the broader New England area. But we obviously could try to comply with those subdivision rights to the maximum extent we could. This 2-to-1 slope is one item that we felt was appropriate from a design standpoint to propose to the city.
So, 2-to-1 slope, that's the basin at the rear of the property, correct?
Correct. So that's through here. That's the basin around here. And essentially, we have the top of our basin and then we have the 2-to-1 slope down on the bottom.
So the property line, I don't know the building behind you, the property line to where the slope stops, how many feet is it to that point?
So we actually have more room here. There's only one small spot here where we're a little bit tight to the 2-to-1, and I'm going to say that's probably a 50-foot stretch. And we're probably 3 feet off the edge of the property line to where we start our grading.
To the side of the 2-to-1 slope? Exactly. I mean, that was my only issue with that rear line, not necessarily on real property. You know what I mean? I guess it's the abutting property. Now, if that was, if I had a 50-foot buffer around it between all property lines, then I guess my concern would be, I wouldn't have a concern. But the problem is you have, I think, parking area in front of that, right?
No, there's actually,
I'm sorry.
So the abutting property.
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
So, that's what I was wondering, so your basin here,
correct, yeah, basin kind of lives in the 3
so the parking area,
the gardens are here, and actually, there's actually another basin in between our basin and their park. Okay. This is another stormwater basin on the property 20 commercial way. So it's really kind of, it's their building, their parking, their basin, our parking, our building.
Okay, so, I mean, I guess I'll let you, take that up and, comment on, take that over the stormwater, but that would be my quick observation. I guess, the proximity to the lot line, proximity to the slope, but I guess I'll let conservation handle that, and if they give me their blessing, we'll make that, if we do approve the project tonight, we'll make that a condition of our approval. Does that sound reasonable?
Yes, and again, Brian Winter for the record. I think one way you might be able to address that is your site plan review requirements include waiver provision. So you can, if you're satisfied that substantively all goals and intended purposes of that provision are actually being due and satisfied, then you can grant a waiver subject to compliance with whatever conservation decides that waiver. So that could be the basis of granting the waiver. So it doesn't strictly comply because, as you explained, those kind of provisions are really meant to accept and I agree with that assessment. So maybe the way to move forward on if you can grant site plan approval inclusive of a waiver subject to compliance with and adherence to any conditions that comes out of the contract process.
But do we need to, I mean, site plan approval doesn't have to make that happen. I would, to me, look at stormwater, wouldn't that be inclusive of the stormwater design as a whole? In terms of, conservation looking at it, I think they're looking at, freeboard, they're looking at,
There's probably a broader suite through it, but you still have a specific finding that you have to make on the site plan approval that it complies with the subdivision rules. So in order to make that finding, you have to grant some sort of waiver. It doesn't technically fully comply. So that's the way to get through.
So thank you for that, because I think with that guidance, there may be some other waivers that we want to request regarding the stormwater. We believe we'll be able to come to the Conservation Commission and address the guidance of them, and now we're going to have to be able to kind of demonstrate compliance with the overall intent of the regulations, as well as there are some separate provisions that, we are requesting to leave from. The two of the slopes would be one,
what would you say, the slopes?
The 2-to-1 slopes, that would be one.
I mean, the freeboard is one. I think our zoning talks about freeboard. Isn't it one?
I think it's 3 feet of freeboard. Yeah. So freeboard is essentially the difference between the top of the detention basin and the top of the pipe and where the water actually goes.
Yes.
So we're actually making a put freeboard in the detention basin and I think Scott was generally okay with that, and that's actually a good rule of thumb for engineering. It's much more regular requirement that I see in most municipalities, but we are providing 1 foot freeboard.
So the state requirement is 1 foot, right? Is that why you guys use that as a guide?
Yes.
I mean, I know town of Mansfield, is a little more conservative. They require 3, but, 4 hole, you're talking about 7 feet between the freeboard and the bottom of your basin. Right. You know what I mean? So I understand why you would have a foot. So, to me, I agree with that, but I guess my question is, with the freeboard aspect, which is this message to you from a legal perspective, it's a planning board rule and regulation for stormwater management. We require 4 feet of freeboard. I stress it, I agree. Would they need a waiver on that from us?
Yes, we would. And manage that you detail the specific requests on record already.
I think it is. It was in our response to comments, and then it was kind of also reiterated in Scott's response to it. So I think it's definitely well done.
I think we're very bored to present the dots and know what they're voting on when they vote.
Yeah, and in each one that we're requesting, a way we request relief from this
So we got the slopes, 2-to-1. We got the freeboard. What's it on? Am I correct? I'm not sure. It's a freeboard.
The freeboard was 3 feet is required, and we're providing 1 foot of freeboard.
Deb, is that, so that, do you know what your 3-1 requirement is? Is it 2 to 1 or 4 to 1?
It's 3 to 1 during the 25 years, so
What is it, 100?
there is no regulatory requirement, but the state requirement, which is unemployed, there is 100.
If the state requirement is 1, the town of Hanson is 3 or 25.
25 years.
And they need the one for the state.
There is only 25. So 25 years old.
So, there's one item we can talk through regarding recharge and groundwater recharge. So one of the things that we looked at is kind of a response to Scott's comments had to do with the soil classification we were using for the site. And based on the site being like a development site, we use D soil classification. And the Massachusetts Stormwater DEP Stormwater Manual says that in C and D soil, recharge should be met to the maximum extent practical. And our detention basin, we did infiltration tests in the limits of our detention basin. We had an infiltration rate of 0.07. And you need 0.17 in order to provide infiltration. So frankly, the area where our detention basin is going doesn't have sufficient soil to provide or meet the recharge bond. Again, the DEP manual allows for C and D soil to hit that maximum extent practical threshold. What we did is we kind of focused on the portion of the site within the existing parking field to maximize the infiltration and recharge here. And actually, we were able to meet the requirements because we were able to increase the recharge for the portion of the site that drains to this area. And actually, through our water quality measures, we added additional water quality treatment, and we expanded and connected these to provide a high-level overflow, which is a drastic improvement from what the current conditions are. So because we had to use the soil classification, and because our infiltration rate in this area was as low as it was, we feel we've met the maximum extent practical intent of the Mass manual, Massachusetts DEP manual. I think your own regulations kind of also use that as a bellwether. So, Scott, we haven't had a chance to discuss that yet, but that was another item that I think we're technically have to request relief on because of just existing site conditions and kind of what we're dealing with stormwater.
Yeah, I don't think you're actually improving the amount of recharge. You've got some additional stormwater that improve the quality and the treatment. No, you're providing even more recharge. I agree with your characterization. It's maximum extent practical. And that's always a very gray area. And everybody is going to have a different opinion as to what the extent practical is. Could they do more? Possibly. Is that reasonable or is that practicable? That's really depends who you are, I guess. They can put cables around and that costs them more money, and they pick up the park lot, they pick up the parking lot anyways, but the portion of the parking lot anyways, but that would be an improvement. Is it reasonable? Is it practicable? I don't know.
I guess one of my questions would be the current stormwater situation. Are they creating the same design flow or increasing it, or are they making it better?
So they're providing more treatment. One of the things you brought up was operation and maintenance. So a lot of my comments there's always an assumption in my mind that the system is going to be maintained properly. And so there is not a whole lot of mechanisms in most municipalities to ensure that operation and maintenance is going to occur. A lot of my comments were, and a lot of their I guess the areas of non-compliance, especially as opposed to the subdivision control, subdivision regulations, kind of beg the fact, whether there's too much on the site or not.
So like the 2-to-1 slopes, I mean, that's a factor of making sure you have volume to contain the water, to contain the water. If you want the 3-to-1, you have less volume. Okay? And to me, something like that is I mean, personally, I've never designed facilities with walls, but never anything less than a 3-to-1 slope. Because to me, it's hard, the ones that I've seen, it's hard to maintain, and you can get some erosion if you don't maintain it properly, and you don't have to grow. There's some other, we're asking for some deviations from the subdivision regulations with things like cover over pipe and pipe sizes and so forth. So all those things together are, I wonder whether there's too much on the site or not. It'd be difficult for them to meet, say, things like that minimum cover over the pipe because it's an existing site. It would be difficult for them, if they increase the size of the pipe, to meet the subdivision regulations. And those subdivision regulations are pretty much consistent with standard engineering practice, and in a lot of ways with stormwater management practice. Like the 3-to-1 slope requirement, that's a requirement of the stormwater management practice. So, it's an existing site. They characterize it as new development. Actually, it's really new development and redevelopment. But I reviewed it as new development because that's how they characterize it. That's why they're requesting all the waivers. So I think operations and maintenance are important. And also, I've added some comments in there that talk about if you are to approve the project, things you may want to consider in terms of conditions, and they may be more suitable for site plan review or conservation.
It doesn't kind of well as we take a couple of weeks in terms of that. But again, I know what he's looking for, but again, I was trying to defer to that, dealing with stormwater as a whole. I feel like this is part of the big picture of stormwater, right? So it's tough to say, yeah, we're talking about this part, but we're not talking about this part, right? Maybe we could fill in the gaps with other things.
Right, but sometimes if you make a difference in stormwater, it changes the site.
Yes.
So that's part of that's why they get support. Like if they were to find in the area on the site from stormwater retention, that changes the site. There's no lot of options to do that. But that could be, if the board is interested in strict compliance with the regulations, and as a reviewer, I try not to, I always caution boards to think about precedent when you're issuing waivers. Because if you do that, then you may set yourself up in another, for another project down the road where you may not be as inclined to issue those waivers.
I think in this situation, I classify this as redevelopment. Yes. I don't classify it as reconstruction. I classify it as redeveloping the existing site. I think, our board anyways has granted a lot of latitude in these type of situations in the past. Now, we look at reconstruction entirely differently, right? But I think that we, redevelop in a situation like this. That's why my question to you is, I guess the real question is, we're not deciding on stormwater today, but the real question is, the stormwater as a whole, is it an improvement to the existing site?
Yeah.
And to me, that's one of the things that I look at from the redevelopment standpoint, rather than, new construction. I know the way they submitted it, I'm looking at it from the standpoint of redevelop the site. And you kind of got to look at what you have, and we give a little bit of latitude to applications that have to kind of work with what they have. And I think this is one of those situations, not just our board position. So, that's why that was an important question to me. But again, we're not dealing with stormwater, so back to that point, I guess I'm confused. So what were you looking for from us?
Well, so it's got to be a number of general stormwater comments that we can review with conservation. But they also provide stormwater comments as it pertains to the subdivision regulations. Yeah. And the waiver, the subdivision regulations is what I think we have to establish for the ZBA part of the site. The bylaw refers to subdivision. The
zoning bylaw for something. So I am not an attorney, but I interpret that as because they refer to it, they incorporate it.
So I think we can, please, comment on that? Yes, I would. Yes. So that's true. If you look at section 3D, it's a requirement that storm drainage, including means of all disposal and calculations to support maintenance of the requirements of the planning board subdivision rules and regulations. So it is incorporated entirely. But the preparatory statement in section 3 says unless stated by the Board of Appeals. It's a little odd in that respect because you're incorporating another board's rules and regulations, but then saying you can waive it. So that gives you the authority, sitting with the zoning board under site plan review, to waive specific compliance on a case-by-case basis if there's a showing, quote-unquote, for unusually simple circumstances, and if it meets the substantive concerns that the bylaw and the law are meant to address. So in order to justify a waiver, no one's entitled to waive. You can deny a waiver for any reason at all. And there is a certain concern, as you heard about precedent, but every case handling going forward, and an applicant would have to demonstrate to this board there's sufficient grounds to grant the waiver in the first place. And in order to demonstrate that, they would have to show that they are meeting the intent of the requirement, notwithstanding the fact that they're not technically meeting the requirement. And your board would have to be satisfied that that in fact is the case. And if you are satisfied, then you could potentially consider it.
So I think we've addressed this comment. We go to page 14 of this comment. That starts to go to the specific subdivision rules and regulations. Kind of reiterate where you requested that, please. And also, it provides comments. We can probably go through those point by point so that everyone has those kind of in front of them so we can see exactly that and can justify how we believe we need the intent. But not the specific requirements. So section 6.5, storm drains in the middle of 12 inches in diameter. We have some pipe sizes that are 8 inches and 6 inches. And again, that actually has to do with the redevelopment component of the site. Because we have, we're somewhat controlled and contained with where we are outletting based on the grades to the east of our site. So as we wrestled with providing minimum cover and minimum pipe sizes, for this instance here, like we have a catch basin connecting into another structure for discharge into the basement. We have a certain amount of flow we have to convey, but if we have to put in a 12-inch pipe, we're going to be too low. But we can provide it with two 6-inch pipes or two 8-inch pipes next to each other, meeting kind of the volume, and still have sufficient cover from a structural standpoint based on the pipe we are choosing. And so that was kind of a number of the comments really had to do with how much cover we have over the pipes and the pipe size. So we did our best to meet the intent of the regulations to ensure that we were providing adequate capacity to convey the stormwater according to the requirements. But we did have to take some engineering judgment to figure out how we could achieve that, given the need for the ability for the board to give us that relief. Number one, section 6.5 is the minimum pipe sizes. We have 6-inch pipe and 8-inch pipes on the site, but again, so we were able to increase it to 8 inches, so we're 8 inches instead of 12 inches.
So we're going to start by there. I don't just go on I understand the general idea. So are you saying that the aggregate is some way it's 12 and 6, you guys that's the aggregate and you're
So the regulations say pipes have to be a minimum 12 inches.
Yeah.
We have some pipes that are 8 inches.
Yeah.
But we're still able to convey the flow based on the intent of the regulations.
We also provided dual 8 inches in the areas where it's deficient, and that overall is greater than 12 inches.
That's what I was asking. So some areas are deficient. You're potentially outside. So the aggregate, the average is total volume?
The volume between two 8-inch pipes exceeds the volume of one 12-inch. Section 7.4.32.2b, that's the minimum cover. We do have less than 2 feet 6 inches of cover. However, we selected pipes that are structurally sound with that reduced cover. We have some PVC. So we are providing minimum cover. Again, that's also part of the fact that we're in a redevelopment situation where we have site constraints that we have to deal with in terms of where distinct parking limits are and elevation and not.
So providing RCP for the building.
So you're providing RCP?
Yeah, the two 8 inches are the schedule H, and then the 12 inches are 5. As well as the 24 inches.
So when you say that less than 2.6,
So generally, the amount of cover over a pipe just reinforces or provides additional strength of the pipe so that there's not any load bearing on that pipe that could cause, damage to the pipe in the future through ongoing operation. The different pipes are rated for different amounts of cover. Reinforced concrete pipe, you can actually put 12 inches of cover on it, and it's still going to sustain H20 loading and not crack or be damaged. Schedule A PVC pipe is the same thing. You can have less cover over that and you can still have the strength needed to, survive and perpetuity. So we have enough insufficient cover so the structure was there. Again, from an O&M standpoint, that also gets worked into our operations and maintenance component that we can provide additional inspections of these facilities so that if there is any issue that comes up, we can make sure that we're responsive to addressing and fixing those. So we believe that, we've built in enough where, even though we're not providing the specific 2 feet 6 inches of cover, we've selected materials that are appropriate, and we have all in inspections in accordance with what we need to do. Section 7.4.32.2c requires a drainage system to have salt scouring velocity of 3 feet per second. We have some pipes that are 2 feet per second. So that just means the rate of water going through those pipes is not 3 feet per second. It's a little bit less than that. I think that that kind of comes into our operation and maintenance plan. That those are things that can be inspected as part of the ongoing maintenance of the facility to ensure that we don't have any issues that we have some lower velocity of water. Protected fencing around stormwater basins. So we are proposing fencing around the basin. We're not next to a travelway, but I think the response is still that the regs specifically require that.
That wasn't in the training, Kenny.
No, it's not. We're not mine either. All right. Continue? Yes, sir.
Thank you. Section 7.4.32.6 requires protected fencing around stormwater basins. We are not proposing fence around the basin. Again, we only have 4.5 feet bases. There's a foot of freeboard, so maximum 3.5 feet of water at one time. And again, from an aerial standpoint, you can see we're actually immediately adjacent to another basin. We are proposing the fencing. We don't believe that I don't believe it is necessarily required. We don't believe it's from an engineering standpoint, it's a requirement. However, it is required under subdivision regulations. So we'd be requesting relief from that. Certainly open to discussion.
So, Doug, can you comment that? Because I know we discussed it earlier.
I think that my comment to that was a safety issue. If you've got 3.5 feet of water and we have 2 to 1 slope, that creates an issue where, it just creates a safety issue. I'm concerned that somebody falls in there and they can't get out because it's really steep. that's like a big project. Safety was a big concern.
Thank you. Scott, do you want to add on that, or?
So, I would say that fencing around the section bases is not standard everywhere. Sometimes it's forever, sometimes it's not. With regard to water in the basin, that's going to further, 3.5 feet is going to further frequently. Probably during 100-year storm, maybe during 25-year storm. Most storms, I've got to say, storm during rain, and, 25-year storm is like 5.5 inches. So, again, we've got plenty of recommendations without fencing around them, and there's plenty of others who do not have them. So, again, I would think about the range and things like that. There's a requirement of subdivision to private site. So, that's really up to them to do the right thing with regard to safety and maintenance and so forth. I think generally, we didn't propose it because we didn't necessarily feel it 100%, necessary for the operation of the facility. I'll say that if the board or the board feels strongly about it, we're happy to add it. If it's something that you
Yeah, no, I mean, it's just, these are planning board rules and regulations. And, that does represent the planning board, that was one of their concerns, I tried to that earlier, and, we're following up on it now. And obviously we try to, take other boards, if they have comments and concerns, we try to make that time meetings, throughout the rest of the possible. So,
we're certainly happy to accept that additional approval.
And anything to knock down the list of, which is Scott's concern, with how many waivers are going for, anything to knock down the list.
So the next one was on section 7.4.32.6C, that's the freeboard requirement. Again, we have to put a freeboard and request approval for that relief. Section 7.4.32.6E requires maximizing the distance in the detention basin from the inlet outlet. One of the inlets is located here, which is somewhat adjacent to the control structure. Again, that was kind of based on pipe sizes, flows, and bottom of the basin based on where we got that. So we are requesting that. And we've certainly done that in many applications in other municipalities, communities. So we'll be requesting to use this as we do
Just to add to that, this area is seeing a lot less runoff than what this would be receiving. Well, I guess it's kind of equal, but this is receiving all of the building. So, or a large portion, not the front half here. So that is further away from the outlet.
The concern is that what we've been doesn't fit in the base when it's designed and it's developed. That's generally the traditional concern. The way the guidelines are written, the preference is to have the outlet and the inlet a reasonable amount of weight on the other side, so if the water comes in, it can move to the basin and out and so on. That is a concern. I think on this one, because of their cover issues, if they're going to lengthen the pipe, then, they're going to have more issues with velocity that we just talked about, and then have more issues with cover. So it's from I found it before, that everything's connected, everything's connected. So, if you want to kind of move that pipe away, then, they're going to have more cover issues because they're going to longer pipe into different cover. And we'll
will be flatter, so it'll be, the velocity will be less.
Well, what distance would you guys go?
I guess it doesn't have much, it doesn't have to, it's just a, yeah, I mean, to me, we have the other one, or we can connect it to that, probably better, we're in the, we're talking about improving things to the maximum extent practicable. If you can do it, I think so. If you can't, then we're going to decide whether they can do it.
We could probably shift it further, closer to this, and maintain the same length, which would help with our coverage issue. And this actually, one of your next comments coming up regarding a head wall, that we could actually build within the slope, which would maintain the, the length of pipe and you can move it over. So I don't see a problem with that, and it would satisfy your head wall comment, which we will get.
That seems to make sense. We kind of do that as kind of possible in situations, right? And that was what? That was what I see on page 16. No, I see that. I'm saying we had well with number 12 on that same page. Alright, so I guess if we do that, I guess that would kind of resolve 8 and 12. Right? We can certainly accept that as, conditions, if we can make those agreements to address 8 and 12. Number 9 has to do with the side slopes. Again, we're requesting 2-to-1 versus 3-to-1, which is actually section 7.12.32.6F. Item 10 was the velocity question in the pipe, 7.4.36, and then we requesting relief on that based on some of the self-assurance. Which one was that? I'm sorry. Number 10, section 7.4.36, checks the velocity, the second velocity. Discussed the velocity in terms of. We did. It's just referenced in the different sections of it. Yes, we did discuss that. Yes. Section 7.4.43 security bars, please do the entrance and outlets of all culverts. I thought we added that.
We added it here. I believe you wanted to. This one and the new one.
I think you should add it, call it out in every place, wherever it's typical, wherever it's detailed. I mean, my concern really is that the contractor sees the plan, something's missing, and the DFA is intended for the customers to do it.
Yeah, I believe we originally only added it to the 24-inch because I thought maybe that was the reason for pipe like a liner to get into. The other ones were smaller, but yeah, we can definitely make that.
So we'll address number 11 as well. We're going to we can address number 12.
I do have a question about it.
Yes.
So you want a head wall at each outlet? Is that including the one on the outside here at the low point?
In order to be compliant with the regulations, I think we should have it at all points.
Okay, we can do that.
But again, I'm providing advice based on the regulations. That's there's no basis for my comment.
Yeah, we can.
So I think that covers what, 8, 11, 12, and 12. We discussed kind of velocity. And then the last one is number 13, section 7.4.45. We had proposed a modified riprap of 5 inches to 9 inches. The regulations require 12-inch size riprap, which is larger stones. And I think we've certainly done a lot of applications with the smaller riprap. And I think Scott even mentioned it could also be a maintenance issue if it runs with the
that, but if the board feels passionate about that, we can also keep orders.
So the regulations, I thought they required, it was 5 to 12, not 5 to 6?
Oh, excuse me, it's minimum thickness.
Yeah, that's not, we require that. I think it's 3 or 4 or 5 to 6.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, we can provide the 12.
I would recommend the bigger stone because what I see a lot of these that happen is they get stored up. Yes, and then they don't work. And so when you have a larger stone, we're not, when you're talking about the thickness of the pad, I'm talking about the stone. You know the rip out, right? That's right, that's right. But the pad is the stone. So, just want to make sure it's maintained and still valid. So we'll provide a bigger stone because then we're not going to have a frequency of issues with that.
But I think for 13, in specific to that request, that was the thickness of the pad. We can comply with that request. We'll revise, I'll provide a response to that.
So it's like that, it's the pad, it's not the river.
Yeah, I think that was in a different, comment that's not exactly something that we have to work on. That's something we can work on with conservation.
So, Kevin, do you have any comments? I know we've gone through a lot. So you think it's in those?
Yeah, Kevin Perkins on board with this. I had a couple of questions. Back to your phases of completion. What are we talking about time frame from phase 1 to complete? Just because my concern with that would be what if, for an unforeseeable complication or something that, whether it's finances or whatever, that we stop after phase 1 and it never progresses to phase 2. Are we going to meet the requirements by just completing phase 1?
Yeah, we designed it so each phase is all the time.
But we're going to be, all the stormwater requirements, everything will be, so if we just complete phase 1, everything will be done basically except for the addition.
Right.
Yeah, we wouldn't construct the basin in the back in its entirety, but the recharge requirements, the water quality improvements, things like that, those are getting provided as part of phase 1 up front, and then providing additional water quality measures through, the 74 bay and the vegetated swale as part of that phase 1.
And the attenuation is being satisfied all of it.
We're also reducing the river level.
Just with your 2-to-1 slope ratio, you just physically don't have the room to do any better than that. Correct?
Yeah, we wanted to make sure we met the overall intent of reducing the flows, and that's part of the volume, but we reduced it to the big one because the volumes are we researched the sort of development because they see the future retaining
Yeah, understood. So, Title 5 doesn't actually recognize first water, right? Title 5 regulations. As far as you're talking about stormwater, we're talking about first water and modeling and whatnot. Did anyone actually, that system that's in the ground, what was modeling called that? Yeah,
No.
The existing septic. They were utilized. Anyone know? Modeling determined when they put the septic.
That was recently expanded
Because
in the past several years.
The reason I ask is it just looks like, I know you guys just threw it on here for the natural or whatever, but it looks like there's 2 tanks in series, which leads me to believe it's probably a pump system. So that tells me that you must have very high groundwater. Just going off this, I'm assuming that it's a pump system.
No, I believe the 2 tanks in series because originally it was a smaller system, but then they were planning to put a school in here, so they had to upgrade, and the flow, the gallons per day required another compartment, so they didn't want to take out the existing, they added a new.
So it was either recraft or storage or what?
No, it was double tank in series, yeah, to satisfy the gallons. Yeah.
Now, I was just curious as to what they called out.
I believe, honestly, like, if I remember correctly, they had sand in this area, which is why I thought we'd have really good perk rates in these areas, but obviously that was not the case when we got into testing. But that was kind of our initial design because we saw the soils that they did in when they upgraded.
Yeah, the other thing that I was just kind of concerned about too in regards to that is you're adding all this impervious area here that if you ever go through a repair on a certain area, you go right back to the same spot. I'm just thinking out of all that back area, you have a detention basin, you have the impervious area, more parking, that is building. The only thing you have left is the system.
There's actually quite a large area kind of in the corner downgrade from the system here that's been undisturbed with wood that's been vegetated, so we believe there's adequate room there to do any kind of septic repair or modifications.
The existing fill that exists here is probably not suitable fill for and if modeling is deep down,
I guess this question, did you guys design a facility with this?
We did not because it was this is oversized for our system already, for what we need. It was designed for school. We have 22 employees.
So that's the design for what's there as opposed to what you need.
I see.
Yes, right.
Yeah, let me grab the engineering, but we do write it.
So the system was installed in 2019. The capacity is 2 tanks with a capacity of 6,000 gallons. Just under 2,000 gallons per day of flow. Our anticipated generation is 490 gallons. So we're 25% of the septic's capacity.
Now what's that side based off this warehouse storage space kind of thing?
About 500 square feet of office, and then 22 employees. Correct.
I'm just kind of curious about that. So how does anything loading determine on that? I understand 110 gallons per day, for 10,000 square feet area on, single family like that. But I'm just curious how that actually works. I know you were to address that. You did a nice loading count on it. I was just kind of curious how that works on the property.
You have to take the impervious area into account. You take the septic demand. It's pretty much just we use an Excel spreadsheet that calculates the total nitrogen flow, and we did it for the entire property. But it also takes into account the impervious area, the landscape area as well. And we're not providing fertilizing, and that's part of the maintenance plan. So that we're able to take that into account.
Based off your usage stuff?
No, it's based off the septic portion.
Right.
Yeah, and then it adds on the impervious in the landscape as other factors because of the septic parts and fertilizer.
So you don't need an aggregate or anything like that. You don't need fertilizer. That's all I got for this.
Sean, you have any comments?
I only have a couple of questions. The only other question I have about this curious is the coverage of the pipes that goes into the last feet of the road.
What was that? 2.5 is a requirement. Is a requirement for the subdivision. We have about a little over right now.
So you were saying you use a different material that kind of makes up a difference in some other areas that.
Yeah, so pipes are rated based on the state of traffic over it. Yeah. So a reinforced concrete pipe RCP is essentially 86% lower than our footprint and the high traffic location. We also, for the 8-inch pipe, we did schedule 80 PVC, which has a similar strength and durability. So we can also still function with the reduced cost.
So when you're talking about different material, I don't know if you're talking about coverage material or.
Oh, no,
pipe.
Yeah. Joy? All right, and Deb, do you have anything else you want to ask?
No, I'm not sure that, I missed part of the conversation with the town council, but my concern is comment 4 and 5 on page 8 regarding the, because this is an aquifer role, and it's about the recharge, and this is on the here that, the review engineer doesn't feel like the, public, the treatment is being, if the water is being infiltrated properly, it should be recharged. I don't know if that's something for stormwater or if that's for us tonight, but I don't know if that's going to get addressed and clarified for me, if that's going to be okay. And we're not discharging water that isn't totally treated back into the aquifer. So somebody can clarify that.
So the original site had 2 catch basins. The water was just going into the catch basins and then down into the ground. The way I understand the system they're proposing is that the water is going to flow into a water quality structure and then disperse the water to two distinct That's correct? Correct. That's correct. So my comment is regarding the configuration of our quality. I don't know if you can put pipe 180 degrees apart from another. I don't think it's a typical fix. When you get the track away from the manhole after the deal, after the septic system.
So we did talk to contract, because we had the same concerns, to be honest, if we could do that. And yes, we did coordinate with contract. We sent them our plan, and they came back and said, yeah, this is a problem.
They confirmed it was appropriate, and they still need to see something with the configuration. So that, in my opinion, that's an improvement. It's a pretty substantial impact because if you get oil or anything that's going to go right to that unit, it's going to be going to the leaking temperature, which is what it has now.
Thank you. That was very important.
Yeah, right. So circle back around that. I mean, I think we,
I just have one more question. Kind of feedback on what you were saying. There was a storage tank on your original design that was removed. What was going into it and where is it going now?
So the internal operations of the facility was initially looking at a different type of system to deal with the water runoff from watering the plants. We've been able to kind of work on adjusting the system and more that doesn't require the same recapture storage volume for that water that we collected and how we store it as well. So basically, we're going to make internal modifications to the operations so that water can be collected and then dealt with, on a smaller volume instead of having to do a big large cycle that just stay in the ground for water and get pumped out of the less frequent rate. So basically, it's basically going to change the operations a bit and deal with it more frequently on a daily basis. Smaller volumes, materials.
To add on to that, too, the runoff now with the new design that we currently did, it will actually treat the water so that it can be is that correct? Yeah. So the runoff, where it would have to be taken off site every 2 to 3 weeks prior in the previous design, is now being treated, reused in the operations, and only little will have to be exported and released.
So, I guess one of my questions is, this is a really question, Brian. We're talking a lot about O&M, because a lot of this stuff is based on, falling through the O&M, this property. How is that even enforceable? I mean,
you incorporated into the site plan approval, specifically, so it becomes a condition of the site. They're going to have to apply with the perpetuity as long as the site is operating in license. So then the building official, the building enforcement official, has to prove to full site plan. So if they're out of compliance, they can get a cease and desist order, a fine, or if necessary, we can get an order before we can take the fine.
So you have all the standard enforcement tools for violating an explicit condition. And that's something that we typically do with approval. So your entire record is full of representations and conditions and affirmations and assurances. We're going to incorporate all of those into a final decision, and they'll be referenced specifically in the approval. So when your zoning enforcement official goes down the list, they'll see that, oh, I have a concern about O&M. There it is, the condition. All of a sudden, the operator's got a letter saying, I need confirmation. I'm not sure this is being provided. So that process is how it will play out.
And then as part of our engineering work, we prepared that long-term operation and maintenance plan that addresses all the items.
I would recommend that you consider, if you do decide to approve the project as a condition, have them submit their maintenance reports to the town every year. And the reason for that is, one, I guarantee that they do it. And two, as part of getting a full permit, EPA, and I guess that's my audit, we gave an audit on the whole community. And what I want to see is there's proof that these systems are being maintained, and that will provide you proof that submitted to whoever I guess maintain your full program. I believe it's probably works.
Which is DPW, right?
Or you should be planning.
I guess the hardest part about this is we have jurisdiction over what and who oversees these things, and you actually, who follows through. And I know that, the DPW in our town anyways has got a lot going on there. They don't have enough staff as is, so I think that they add these type of burdens on them to follow through with O&Ms and stuff won't happen. I'm just trying to give them some direction so they know when they file it, they can file it grading 2 to move it, that's all. It's looking for the direction. And, did you say that you guys were okay with if it's going to submit to the planning board? You guys are all okay?
Planning apparently oversees that for.
Yes.
So we're the oversight, so I mean.
That would make sense, right?
Right, and then we work with highway,
Absolutely. Right. Just so they have some direction, because otherwise, it's not just let me all right, so I think we've satisfied that. And Sean, did you all set? Did you want to Sean? Johnny? And was there any follow-up, Scott?
I don't think so. There are some other comments that are in here. I guess the other comment that is in my mind is a significant comment regarding the diversity. So, typically that more uniform width, and they're decreasing the width considerably now. So they have typically like 56 feet. Typically you can have like 30-foot wide. They did that change the layout of the parking area. They use some spots. That's where they did
So because the width the open, so you're saying currently it's what?
It's probably like 90 feet. They're usually down to 56 feet.
And just we're maintaining one side of the landscape area, and then we kind of went off perpendicular to the road from our other side parking. That's kind of how it
Scott, what are you saying? It's inadequate?
No, I'm saying it's really wide. It can be confusing for people going in and out.
So are you recommending an island in between where one way in, one way out?
An island or a condenser or a little bit. Yeah,
I think it's best shown on here, if everyone can see. The existing drive aisle from the existing driveway from here to here. That's very wide, and that's part of because of how the site operates from a parking standpoint. We're trying to create, parking along the front based on the handicap ramp. And we're adding all of this landscaping in here to reduce that width now from over 90 to 56. Just because of how the site is out, how the existing pavements there, we just try to understand where our minimum driveway has to be and then follow the pattern of the existing infrastructure that's there, so the building that's there. So rather than, completely reducing this down, we thought this was the best way to handle it and to reduce that width down, because it is a considerable improvement from what's out there today, and we're adding a considerable amount of additional landscaping, reducing the impervious surface, all the benefits, but just trying to completely whittle it down just kind of created some awkward situations and kind of affected access to the parking spaces and things like that. And I'm not sure, adding an island in here doesn't, do too much other than create another issue that you have to plow around and things like that from a snow removal standpoint. So we certainly tried to improve the best we could.
So in my opinion, to that point, I think that safety would override maintenance. And so I would say, what I'm concerned about is that when people look at it, they're not, it's certainly something to think, I don't know how many visitors are going to have based on the use. You also got to think about down the road with the changes, they decide not to be there anymore, or whatever. This is an opportunity to change that entrance. If you were to go to that highway and remember that, people would take it away, that line through.
So I guess in regards, so obviously, not the problems for doing this. In my position, safety does, overrule, site. Is there some way we can, take that island down a little bit, put an island there, make it so we know, we're coming in and we're going out. I understand what your constraints are, that, it's an angle, the building's kind of positioned, not parallel to the street, the parking lot. But is there some way we can reconfigure that to make it a little more safe?
I think we could probably, from a safety standpoint, when we're talking about trip generation itself, we really don't see a lot of safety concerns, especially since there is far more intensive use on the property with a much larger curb cut for a number of years. And if there's other ones can attest to, even though Mass Highway doesn't allow it, there are plenty of driveways on a lot of state roads that are much wider than that. But, all that being said, I think we could probably look at reducing that a little bit more. Again, it'll be a little bit more site activity from a work standpoint. So they would be aware. But I think we could probably look at providing some further reduction there. We'd have to probably modify our ramp works and things like that, but I'm certain we could accommodate that.
Like Scott said, we're assuming something happens, we're assuming, the new use goes in there, there's more traffic. This is the way they kind of.
Well, to that point though, no new use can come in here without coming back before the course. Right? So any change in use, any, modifications to what's currently proposed requires an approval from site approval. The special permit, yes. The special permit is specific to the cultivation facility, so I think that you always have an opportunity to change things and use changes in the future.
I just have a quick question, and I don't want to go up against you guys, but you have 23 employees, so you have 23 cars. Besides those 23 cars that would be going in there, what is the typical type of vehicle that would be going in there?
Printer van? the smaller, like sprinter vans for like deliveries and things like that, but nothing, you know, there's really something that would be served by tractor trailers or anything like that. Just regular passenger vehicles, put it in an APS truck or something like that.
Okay, so, but basically then besides the employees, it would be typically bigger vehicles than a sedan or...
I mean, if you consider a FedEx truck or something like that.
The only reason I'm asking is I drive a truck for a living, and wider is better.
Yeah.
Especially if there's any kind of flow of traffic through that entire area. You know, so I mean, I just wanted to add my 2 cents in on that.
Yeah. My position was that, we listen to the department, they're the engineers, and, me anyways, when, they give us a recommendation, I seriously look at it, because they deal with this problem and I deal with daily basis. So when they make a recommendation, I agree with what you're saying, but, Scott, you can reiterate that, I mean, how important is on this specific site, like the question he asked, it's a good question, like, when he's trying to make this is unstructured stuff. I get it. The arms are on top, it makes it more difficult. We talk about safety. Can you just circle back on that?
I don't think that the configuration as it is now is exceedingly dangerous. However, standard practice is to have a metric that's a little bit more well defined. So that it's there now, so it'll make it safer. So I would encourage you to take it more consistent with standard practice.
If I'm not mistaken, isn't it in our bylaws, I'm not sure what site that I think it is. It requires 2 entrances. Am I mistaken? Entrance to the exit, I'm sorry. Yeah, entrance to the exit.
I think it's just like the natural 2 lanes of normal driveway.
I just remember we dealt with this in the past on a similar situation on a busier road, different type of business. And we did, we kind of pushed that issue, that was a big sticking point. But I know this is an industrial park, I get it. It's different, the volume of traffic is different, it's different in many different ways.
Yeah, we brought it from over 90 to 56.
Well, we have 5 or 6 on that one, I think, something like that. I don't know if we have there. It'd be more narrow than the site we have, not as wide, but more.
I mean, from a traffic standpoint, throwing an island in the middle of that, I think kind of just creates more confusion, and then it's a question of, is it really one way on both sides, or is it 2-way on both sides? I don't know if I'd recommend doing an island. If anything, I'd say, we rotate this and add, to align this up a little bit more parallel with the parking spaces on the opposite side to reduce that overall. But again, I was just trying to, minimize the overall safety service that was necessary to accommodate the facility. And, I still think we want to maintain a growth of at least, probably 35 feet to this is half of the vehicles getting out and things like that.
I know the area is not like the traffic will be fine and out of here real fast.
So I think I'll be very that's our own thing. How about just an orange jersey barrier, one of those plastic jersey barriers they have with water? The entrance and exit sign. All right, to differentiate the entrance and exit. I mean, listen, go like that.
I don't think it's really, if we're entering off Route 27, yes, yeah, concerned with it, but if we're entering off Commercial Way, you're taking it narrower, so it's a little less confusing than where it is. I think we put an island there, this is quite a big cluster. I think it's going to cause more harm than good. I agree with Jim, I don't think any more is better. It's an industrial cluster, that's what it is.
So, I get those.
I don't see it.
And I'm not saying I would drive over the island, but, you know, there's a pretty good chance.
You're putting an obstacle there.
Exactly.
Johnny, do you have anything you want to add to that?
No.
Okay. All right, I think we addressed that. Was there anything else, Scott? All right. Brian?
Nothing for me. Where do you want to go next?
I mean, I guess...
Public comment? You want to...
Yeah, I guess we go to public comment next, but then we'll talk. So, anybody take a public comment?
Does anybody have any comments? Seeing none.
Okay, so I guess the next part is, if, you know, as far as, you know, looking at the approval denials project, right? We've gone over a number of things, we've gone over waivers. We've gone over, the O&M, looking at how the condition, how we proceed, and I think there's a lot of stuff here. We don't actually have in front of us, but maybe we're looking for, to actually look at it verbatim to say, hey, this is what we're doing, this is what we're not doing, make a decision on, so how do we proceed?
So, let me offer two possibilities. One is, you have to decide whether you want to see the revisions that have been discussed on the plan. Some of them are more substantive, others will more technically answer the conditions. But if you want to see those on the plan before you finally get going, keep in mind that the decision you make on the site plan is going to affect some of the special permit conditions. The select board is going to have to decide ultimately if the use is appropriate. So they're not going to really know that until you finalize the site plan. So the first question you probably want to hold your board on is whether or not you want to see those revisions made. The second aspect that I would suggest is you want to give us as council some direction in terms of what you want to see in terms of written findings and conditions, and then we can put that in front of you so you know what you're voting on. So you could go item by item through your site plan bylaw and vote every single one of those in direct conditions. It's a pretty tedious process. Some boards like to do it just to make sure everyone stays in their lane, and that's fine too as a process. But I've heard a lot of guidance, I've heard a lot of comments today. I've been taking notes, and I've benefit reporting as well. So if you want to just provide those instructions to us, we can put a draft decision in front of you consistent with your instructions, and then you'll know exactly what you're doing.
I mean, I would prefer to do that. I mean, because, you know, kind of, I think it's made those possible. So if we had done that, would the selectmen be able to have their hearing tonight and actually make, or they have to wait for the vote?
So I think the next stage wouldn't involve taking more evidence or changing plans, except to the extent you discussed it. So I would imagine that if you have one more evening to see the draft decisions, you wouldn't be evaluating any of it. So I think everything is like, well, here has been said. That's obviously up to you to decide, not me. But assuming that we're not anticipating anything new coming down other than what's been or the forecast of today's discussion, you know, I think you can move forward and take a straw, you know, vote on what kind of conditions and what kind of findings you would like to see in the draft decision sufficient that I can get down and draft it, and that could be the basis for the select board.
But not for us to make a decision tonight until we see it.
You can do it two ways. You can vote to approve with conditions, to deny, whatever the outcome is, subject to council preparing a draft decision by your final approval.
Understood. So it would be, if you decided to approve, it would be approval subject to approval of a draft decision.
Right. Which you'll have to identify which waivers you want us to put in there. And Greg, you're going to see this, so yes, if it's inconsistent, then you're going to change it, of course. You'll have that opportunity. So whichever waivers you want to see in there, whichever other conditions you want to see in there, give us that guidance and put it together. And then you can decide whether or not to keep the public hearing open or not. Since we're not anticipating any new evidence testimony, it's less important, but if there are going to be plan revisions, and you can do that, you want to submit those during the public hearing. So we might as well keep the public hearing open just for that limited purpose.
said, I think the plan needs to be discussed, and also conditions of public approval.
That's why I mentioned the first week. Do you want to see those before, or do you want to make a part of it?
This is my thing on it. We've gone over a number of things tonight, and there seems to be some, you know, you guys are going to meet with Conrad tomorrow night, right? We've gone over, obviously that would be a condition of, we got, you know, there's a few things that kind of, you know, intertwine with that, shall I say? We talk about, food or slopes, all that good stuff. So I want to be clear where I'm voting on, and I have my notes here, and I feel like I'm pretty clear. I just want to be very clear. So this is we're going the proper way, and then I'll leave here tonight and say, well, I think I forgot that. So I'd rather compare those with your notes on mine and my notes, and then I know what I think Kevin's notes and Sean's notes put together, and then we know what we're voting. Right, that's the way we do it.
Right, and obviously, in order for me to do that, you're going to have to steer me in the direction the board wants to go. So we're going to walk out of here tonight knowing some writing an approval with conditions or something different. You'll know the outcome, essentially, of the process. Then it would only be subject to us putting that in a proper form for written decisions to be voted on. It has to happen anyway. So one way or another, there's going to be one more night for us to do.
I would want to see the updated plan, and also the updated plan sent back to Scott for the final budget. That's what I'd like to see.
And that's kind of what we're saying right now.
Before we move.
Yeah, exactly.
But, I mean, we're close here. We got a deal here. It's just a matter of fine-tuning.
Yes.
You guys talked about a lot of stuff, and I would personally want to see that updated plan. Just my opinion.
And, you know, Brian's been, not my nose, but Brian's been sitting on my, Scott's been, you know, sitting on everybody else has, he's gone to their nose and kind of modified the plan, and, my opinion, I don't speak for the board, I feel like, we're moving in the right direction. I mean, I don't, do we have to take a vote tonight, Brian? Is that what you're saying?
We should take a vote to trust the right decision, and tell me what is going. So I need to know if I'm ready to approval, certain conditions, and we can grant the waivers, or something different than that. So that's all subject to getting a written decision. So it's a contingent approval.
And then, Brian, we should continue the hearing with ZBA and the board for another date for us to vote on.
But don't we have some engineering plans too, like for the HVAC and stuff that we're looking at? So we may have things that we're going to ask them to come back on too.
Right.
So, yeah.
So
that would be the next step for the board.
So you want to make a motion, but we make it. So I'm going to, so who's going to vote? Pretty much Sean. So I'm going to make a motion to approve
hold that thought.
Getting more tapes, Virginia? I need to get up anyway.
Virginia comes prepared. She's got the whole kit and caboodle down there.
Maybe we can. There you go.
Sorry about that, guys.
That's okay.
Gives us a little chance to stretch our legs, right?
Yeah.
Don't apologize to us. You're the one who has to take all the notes from the tape, for God's sake. Oh, my God. It's a lot.
Okay. Thank you, Kenny. Thank you for waiting.
Yes. Okay, we all set? Yeah. Okay, all right. So let's start again. So I make the motion to approve to allow town council to prepare conditions of approval with contingencies at 15 Commercial Way, map 59-17-6, for site plan approval and waivers to be written by town council and by the Board of Appeals. Do I have a second? All those in favor?
Okay, so that's sufficient for now, and let's hold discussion of the next meeting date until after the select board. So, with the select board, so you may have a number of questions based on your first night, and ultimately, at the end of your discussion and questioning, I'll have you take a similar vote and instruct us the time you'd like us to prepare a written decision. And there are 3 findings that the board has to make ultimately. So I'm just going to read them very, very quickly, maybe the conversation with your board. So in section B, there's mandatory findings. The special permit granting authority shall not issue a special permit unless it finds the establishment is designed to minimize any adverse visual economic impact on butters and other parties in interest. So you'll have to determine whether or not you can make that finding, any evidence you've heard or any other evidence you want to hear. The second one is the establishment demonstrates that it will meet all the permitting requirements of all applicable agencies within the Commonwealth of Massachusetts and will be in compliance with all applicable state laws and regulations. And the last one is the applicant has satisfied all of the conditions and requirements of section 695 and 696 for the technical standards and the bylaws. So those are the 3 findings we have to make in order to grant the special permit. So that would be the next thing to consider, along with, of course, any other questions. If you feel that there's any other evidence the board hasn't heard that wants to consider, now will be the time to ask for that.
Okay. Does anybody have questions?
Well, Brian, my question is, are we voting on those 3 tonight? No, right? That's coming when we know that the abutters find that there's no economic or site or whatever. I mean, in each of those cases, do we know any of that tonight for certain? I'm assuming since there's been no public statements that there are no concerns, I guess. Is that true? Do we just go with that, or do we have to wait?
That's a decision the board has to make. You feel you've heard sufficient evidence for and against based on the totality of the public hearing that you're in a position to make those findings, and not finally. But I ask you to do the same thing that the zoning board did, which was take a straw poll to instruct us to draft a decision and express the board's will. So would you like to see a draft decision making those findings? Or do you want to deliberate on each one? And if there are any other issues, you can vet them now, and maybe you'll be in a position to take that vote next week. But if you feel that the board has heard everything it's going to hear, and that you're now in a place to consider each one of those prongs and vote on them, you can vote on them.
I do not feel that we've heard everything, because the big thing, the big open item that we had from our last hearing was the HVAC system. And I just want to remind you guys, when we did have the public hearing, the major thing that everybody was saying was, is it going to smell? Is it going to reek down by that area? And so we've got, I don't know.
So we should ask them if they have an answer to that question. I would ask that question, Mark.
Does anybody have, can you speak to the, and I don't know, did you also look at this independently? Or? Okay, great. So I think that was that, and then the other one, which Kevin had asked about, and I think we've disposed of now, was the wastewater, which now you guys have come up with a whole different system. But those were the 2 major concerns that people had expressed. So
we I think at the last hearing with the selectmen, we did talk a lot about the mechanical review letter, and also again, the contractor was also, mechanical engineer was also here to discuss that from a building release standpoint. I know there were new comments that came through tonight at like 6:15 or so. We haven't had a chance to, prepare a response to those. They just came in, and unfortunately, our mechanical engineer is here this evening to kind of offer any color on that. And I haven't even had a chance to go through the detail of understanding what, or if there are any substantive issues that are still in there that needs to be resolved. We can really discuss those, and then we can provide feedback to the board.
I mean, Kenny, I think if we could hear from our engineer just briefly, but it was clear to me, you know, this is, what do I know? This isn't my area of expertise, but just looking through that there seems to be some chinks in the armor on the HVAC system.
Right, okay.
Yeah, hello, so Jeff Solkat with Now YCS, and I was here a couple months ago. And so what we gave you at that time was a draft report. So we are the peer reviewer for the HVAC system specifically for irrigation. And when we were here 2 months ago, we presented a draft report. And at the back of the report, there was section 2.9, the title Outstanding Questions. And what those questions were was a series of questions we had for creative environmental consultants to clarify OSA design, to clarify some of the issues that come down clear in the drawings. The drawing step was the progress step, and it was not the investment questions to clarify what we've done. So, tonight what we've done is we presented our final report. We received responses from CDC on November 4th, which were responses to the questions that we had. We incorporated those into the report and addressed the questions that were throughout the report, and at the end of the report, had section 2.9 rather than outstanding questions that we titled up to resolve the questions. So all of the questions that we had were being resolved, and we finalized the report. So bottom line is what that means. So we believe that the design of the parts of it that we reviewed is compliant with the code. We believe the equipment has been selected, is properly selected, properly sized. And we believe that the design is going to be effective in mitigating odors in the facility. So we have no outstanding questions. Just to review the fundamental pieces of that design, I mentioned in the last time I talked about there really are three methods that we use. One is the differential pressure control within the building, which is used to contain the odors, the bad odors we want to control, contain them in one spot, and prevent them from migrating to the other parts of the building. That's done through differential pressure, the way that the building is balanced by the HVAC contract. That is well-known, well-used technology that's been around for many years. The second piece of the strategy is destruction of odors where they're occurring, and that's with these air purification units. So that's a mechanical piece of work that is newer technology, and it is simple technology. So we've all heard simple and effective. We like simple, we like effective, and that the odors are continuously generated, that continuously destroying the odors within the recirculated air within the space. The third piece is there's some of them out there that have actually exhaust escapes the facility in the atmosphere. All of the exhaust air is put through a charcoal filter. Like the air balancing that's technology that's been around for a long time, it's simple to protect. So we have high confidence in those parts that we use. Lastly, I mentioned last time, once the air escapes the stack of the building, there's some amount of pollution that is put in the atmosphere before that air actually crosses the property. So the key piece for us there, which I mentioned last time, I can reiterate it again, is it is very important to start with the right design. That's the piece that we look at for you. We're comfortable with what the approach is. It also relies on much we heard here tonight, studying this all properly. Instead of starting it, instead of starting up, mission properly, studying maintaining over time. So as I mentioned last time, the mechanical equipment, the air purification units, as well as those charcoal filters, are consumable elements of the design that need to be maintained and need to be replaced over time in order for that equipment to be effective over the lifetime of the facility. So we might encourage in the same way that we talked about an overall maintenance plan for the site, that we include those elements as part of the maintenance requirements to the extent that, the town would want to be involved in that. But we would recommend that. We also might recommend on the startup of the facility that we hired, had some independent commission agent to verify and document the equipment that's installed, started up properly, and is ready for use to do the things that we recommend. Help assure that it's good design and just starting out implemented.
So, I'll ask the question for you. I'm a little more complicated. So, the way that the abutters go outside and what it smells right now, after this is installed, and it's installed on our plan, maintain the way it's supposed to be protected. So that's in your professional opinion. But if it's installed the way that it's designed, it can maintain the way it should be, this is going to change.
It's a odor mitigation system. It's not an elimination system. And just as a truck, I don't know even smell the exhaust. It's essentially possible, and it's not a different objective necessarily. Each person's a different response. We expect that it would, the way that it's approached is very much to suppress and mitigate. But yeah, in terms of technology and the approaches that take, like I say, it's a three-tiered, it's no technology, it's civil technology. And it provides a lot of
excuse me, for you. Brian, it seems to me as though we would want to integrate what this gentleman has suggested, which is that it's great that these plans appear to be compliant and he's done a sanity check on them. But I like your thought process of the plans versus what actually gets put in there and just double checking that it is what has been represented. And I'm not suggesting that anybody would be trying to do something different, but we just want to make sure that what we approve is actually what's built and that the systems are the same. Because again, our responsibility is to the folks that live nearby so that they're not having to, smell that 24 times 7. So how do we ensure that? Is that something we integrate into, into our agreement, our final agreement, the approval? Because I don't think that should be, again, I'd like to think that that's something that the town would hire that person, but that the applicant would pay for.
Correct. So to answer your question, there's a couple of ways to approach it, depending on whether or not you feel it can be performed in-house or whether or not it's properly done by a third party. In either event, you want an explicit condition of the approval that spells out so that the name of the game here is no assumptions, no aspirational goals, and we just hope everyone's on the same page, the years and things. So you want an explicit condition, otherwise it's just not enforceable. So we would write a draft condition that would incorporate that requirement, and this board would just have to tell us what you want in that requirement. So it could be sort of the bottom level, it could be that it's done as part of the building permit and not the permit stage. And that's if you were confident it could be done in-house. It might not be for some more complicated facilities that are less familiar to your building official. You would want a third party peer review consultant to come in and look at it. And that's totally appropriate, whether or not you're talking about medical waste or cultivator. It's not something we do every day. Typically, you hire a reviewer and you ask the applicant to pay for it. Now, if that's the will of the board, you should probably ask them to either respond to that question or take it home with them and come up with a response. So you know what the answer would be before we do that.
Because I think also to be responsive to Mr. Cushing's point, which is we do have limited staff here. We've got 4 guys in hire. And so there's going to be stormwater stuff. There's going to be all conservation stuff. There's going to be, so I just want to make sure that, they've got conditions that they're laying out. We're going to have some stuff that we're laying out. If we could have an independent party look at it, I think that would be great. Through you, Mr. Mitchell, are we allowed to ask the applicant or? Which is
Yeah,
what
I was
we
just gonna say, I
suggested.
agree with her 110%. That's something that we need to do. The aspect where somebody looks in there and makes sure that everything this gentleman's saying is actually in there. And also the maintenance program, we spoke about it last time, putting that in there so, you know, we can hold somebody accountable if it's not, you know, being in there. So I'm assuming that that's something you guys are willing to do.
Yeah, I mean, it's you know, it's in a lot of instances, you know, a lot of municipalities, like in the stormwater standpoint, right? As a design engineer, you know, we do all the plans, we tell them how to do it, we give them to the owner, the contractor, and they do it. And usually what happens is we have to come back in at the end of the day and write a letter with our license on the line saying everything was done in substantial conformance with the approved plans, right? So it's not necessarily an additional third party, but it is another design professional putting their license saying that, you know, everything was done according to the plan. Or these are the deviations, and those deviations will not affect the substance of the approval. So whether it's, you know, whether the boards want to rely on the applicant to provide, you know, letters from professionals that are giving these verifications of the plan, or having another third party do it, you know, I think it's certainly up to the
I would want to see it, and I'm only speaking for myself, I would want to see a third party.
I agree. Mr. Chair.
You know, to give us that information, you know, so that we know.
Mr. Chair, if I may, I think we're getting carried away a little bit by saying, oh, now we have to have a third-party inspector come in and make sure that they installed it correctly. I think that Impress LLC, in their best interest, they want to make sure it is installed properly. They're going to hire professionals to do it. It's kind of having a Chevy mechanic checking out what's going on in a Kia. You know, you can get the same idea. Okay, yeah, it's going out the building. It's kind of being filtered. Are they going to be able to say on this piece of equipment, oh yeah, you activated this right, you activated that wrong? I think we're getting a little bit carried away. And as they just said, you know, we have a couple of engineers and they're sign off as a verification. I think we're getting a little carried away and maybe adding too many permits.
That's your entitled to your opinion. I think that the order is a big factor on this. I have no issues with this whole thing that's going on and on. But the order, I would like some assurance that it's not going to be an issue with the order once this is done. 20% of a vote.
Yes, but this gentleman had suggested, and he's representing our interests in this, that we get that third party. And since the applicant would be paying for it, and I appreciate, sir, that you're a professional, you're going to sign off at it, and you're going to do your due diligence, but I would like to see somebody, I think where you're going, Kenny, is looking out expressly for this town's interest, not for their, because you're hired by Impressed LLC, and I know you've got professional criteria that you've got to abide by, and I'm not questioning that. But I'd like to know that there's a third party who's just looking out for Hanson's best interest and looking at that independently and saying, yep, they've done everything they're supposed to.
Just on that aspect.
Yeah, yep.
Yeah, hold on. Go ahead, Kevin.
Yeah, I agree with you. This is not something to jump on Bob Burns' lap.
Yeah.
This is not something that he has time to look at.
Exactly.
It's not something, I mean, this is a mechanical engineering.
Yep.
This is not a building inspector. This is something that I agree that we should verify, and it should be from someone that is hired for the applicant. I think we should get another, just a quality control check on it, really, to make sure that it's getting installed the way it's supposed to be, not just.
And like I said, I have no issues at all with this project at all.
Yeah.
I want to be sure. I think the order thing is a big factor. Mr. Cushion.
So I guess to add up on that, I mean, you know, I understand you guys initially signed off to make sure that things are installed and compliant with the plans and all that. I think the biggest thing is not even after that point, you guys can bring like that. We can look at it. I think it's the O&M aspect of it. Year after year, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, they're not selecting it for their we're not on the board anymore. Someone can actually follow through the O&M and say, listen, we have annual inspections. You know, we're going to hire a third party. This is going to be the fee. It could be increased. I mean, a number of things. I think it's more along the lines of the O&M. It's more important for a third party review. You know, to follow. I'm confident that you would. Green light the initial installation and all that stuff.
And down the road, whether the town chooses to do that or not will be up to, like you said, the people that are sitting there. But they'll have that option. But if we don't put it in there, they're not going to have that option. So in 5 or 6 years, you know, there's no recourse to go, so I think, yeah. But, hold on one second, I'd like to hear from you guys to see what you guys think.
As far as tracking and reporter?
No, as far as what we're talking about, as far as the order, having a third party inspect the system that's going in there.
I mean, I'm confident with the engineers, and I'm confident behind the technology.
To have to pay for a peer engineer to come in and check our work is probably something that we didn't want to have to do. And you have to pay for all these peer reviews to quantify our work is something that I don't think we have to do based on the engineers that we hired. But if you feel that that's what we have to do, then that's up to the board of selection and the...
Right, okay. Thank you. Good, sir.
Well, I was going to say, I think, you know, your concern about the ongoing and whoever may be sitting in these chairs in 5 years, you need your special permits, and you need your approvals, because then you get to establish those conditions now. So if you want to establish a condition that there has to be annual reporting of the O&M, not only for the site, but also for the building, you're certainly within your rights to do that. And you're within your rights to obviously require an independent commissioning report or a commissioning report by the applicant's engineer. You know, I definitely think, and I understand the concern about, you know, we're firefighting festival where it's, you know, geared towards them. You know, we hear that all the time, as engineers, we hear it all the time, and it's like, you know, we always got to do our best job because our license means something, and that's how we make our livelihood. So we have to be able to stand behind that. We may have different opinions on things, but at the end of the day, we can all be engineers to stand by our license. So whether it's an independent third party commissioning, doing a commissioning report, or a design engineer verifying that there's no line of work, I think you have a third party period that's reiterated and reinforced that the technology and the approach for road mitigation complies with the regulations. It's good, it's sound technology, and it's something that they feel confident and comfortable with. We've met all those requirements. I think that's a fundamental, critical component of it. Now the next step is, okay, what do you need in terms of sign off from the building standpoint before addition, of course, the occupancy addition, and then what's going to be required from an ongoing operation and maintenance standpoint, you know, throughout the duration to make sure that, you know, the filters are being changed in accordance with the required schedule and the required maintenance for the facility is being done in the right way.
Okay. You guys, Mr. Hickey, Mr. Bosch, you guys, any comments?
No, I guess I'm good.
Okay.
Our engineer here.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, I could just add that, you know, on the, when I spoke about the independent commissioning, so I'm thinking about it in the context of this organization system, not necessarily the entire site. The other thing I would add that the internal record of the last few years of the automation system is we monitor HVAC improvements. In our experience, that's the most problematic piece of any new building that we're looking at. And we find over and over again that all that results in the building automation system is efficient. It's not working well. And that's definitely more difficult for you developers who kind of start up with your operations. It's difficult for you guys to get callback and to get into it. But you've been commissioning the system, you start it right, you start up in the first place. And you have the insurance, you know, so looking at our balancing report, we talked about the importance of that. You're looking at the building automation systems. And then the mechanical, we do mechanical. So, in our experience, everybody that is doing that work all that. So we have, you know, the kind of assurance that we have we're not facing perhaps.
Right. Yeah, no, I like what you're saying. So Brian, so moving forward, is there any way he can get what he's saying? That's what I would like to see. I can't speak for everybody else. As far as the, you know, the independent and the inspections and all that, can you work that out with him?
I'm happy to.
Or what's the best way to do it?
I can write draft conditions that are consistent with
what he's saying.
And should we take a vote to?
But when you get to writing a draft decision, so I don't know if the board is there yet. If you want me to prepare a draft decision and show you what those conditions might look like, you have them in front of you. It's not binding, obviously. You haven't made any votes one way or the other on anything. I can put together what it might look like when you get to that stage. I'm just a little hesitant to do that until I have directions from the board, because I don't know writing approval conditions, or if I'm writing denial findings, or something in between. So typically I would write it in the alternative, because I don't know what the board vote is going to be.
So briefly give us our options, please.
You can just continue the next meeting and hold that, or you can instruct me to write a specimen approval with conditions, so you can see what those conditions might look like.
That's what I would like to see.
Same.
Okay, Mr. Hickey, is that?
I don't make decisions after 9 p.m.
Is that what you like to see?
It's 9:18.
I
That's what I want, Brian.
Okay. Okay. You have the consensus of the board. Do you need a vote?
I think I understand the will of the board. Why don't you hold the vote when you see the decision and you want to make a finding?
Okay.
I think the will of the board is clear.
Okay. Good. Excellent. Is there anything else, Brian?
One final thing. Extension for the ZBA. Do we need this?
It's good to have it on record. Follow the normal course, even though we're in polling period. That polling is going to end on December 1st. So let's stay to the normal course here. For the next stage, unless there's anything more people want to discuss, we can pick a date for the next continuing public hearing.
How much time do we need? Really, what do you think?
I think sufficiently, I think we need to take care of that line. We're going to go back and forth with it. I know the next meeting, we're meeting again.
We're meeting on the 8th and the 15th of December.
We already have an agenda for those dates, and we already have.
We've already got them.
You can pick.
Yeah, we've got those.
Let's do this. Let's tentatively schedule for the 8th. I mean, that's tentative. Let's schedule for the 8th.
Is that going to give enough time, though?
I'm going to give you guys time.
I'm sorry, I think
15th? You want to do the 15th?
I don't think we have anything up with the capital side, which is great, and I'm glad. Thank you for being here. That's all.
You wish you spoke an hour and a half ago, right?
Yeah.
I know I do.
We can communicate with understanding that there's other work required by other directors.
Right.
Yeah, let's do.
So to us, it doesn't matter. If you guys think you can do it by the 8th.
No, we have a meeting on the 1st, so I'm thinking 2 weeks from that, the 15th.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know the schedule, but I'm pretty sure we have one on the 15th, but we will.
Mr. Stanbrook, is that?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So.
Yeah.
Will it be short to continue to the 15th at a time? Is that right?
So you want to make the motion? Go ahead.
Yeah. I know you guys, we did it 7, but I just started 6. Is it better for us to come at 6, get this out of the way, and then go to the...
Yeah, we can do that. Yeah, we can do that.
It doesn't matter. The Hickeys and the Blosses are caroling that night and will not be here.
On the 15th?
Yeah.
Okay.
You better check that with them. Oh, right?
Okay.
So 6 p.m. to 15, right?
So, Brian, did you say we need to make a motion to postpone,
To
continue the hearing until the...
On December 15th, for the meeting to reconvene the auditorium.
So moved.
Second.
Motion's being seconded. All those in favor? Okay. I'm looking for a motion to adjourn.
Hey, do you guys need to do that also?
Wait.
Well, yeah, we do. We also need a signature.
Motion to...
Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Oh, my gosh. I'm exhausted.